5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fucking yeehaw! Lenny Clarke, ladies and gentlemen, and his brother Mike. Mike Clarke, the second man to ever give me paid work ever in my entire professional career, opening up for Lenny at Jay's in Pittsfield.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that place.
The Norm LaFoe gig.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if Norm's around anymore, but I remember that gig like it was yesterday.
That guy paid my rent many times. Many times.
Good guy.
And you did too.
Yeah.
Working for you paid my rent. I worked for Mike, one of the craziest gigs I ever did. I think it was a one and done. You never did it again. It was a restaurant, and I was in the seating area, and the microphone for the people when they announced their table was tied to the PA system. So you'd be in the middle of this punchline. You'd be like, so I said to the guy, Clarke, party two, Clarke, your table's ready. Like, oh no.
Was that wasn't the Mexican place down the Cape, was it?
No, it wasn't a Mexican place. It was a seafood place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had a lot of one-nighters back in the day.
Well, that was the beautiful thing about being a comic in Boston is that if you lived in Boston, you could go anywhere within like an hour, 2 hours outside the city and work basically every weekend.
Yeah, Tuesday through Sunday, Joe.
Yeah,
you know?
We were working 7 nights a week at one point. It was
That's crazy.
so much, and cash.
Yeah, cash.
Yeah, cash is king.
Well, it was amazing, but it was also terrible because a lot of people were very bad with the taxes. And
my mother told me, don't fool around with the taxes or the mob.
You might have been the only guy.
Oh, I paid. I paid.
Well, you might have been the only guy. Everybody else got hamstringed.
Yep. Noxie got killed. Kenny got killed.
Yeah, they all got killed. And then when they got killed, it was like hundreds of thousands.
Oh, it was bad.
Because it was years and years. And, and you got to make that up. Like, fuck.
Oh, yeah. There's no getting out.
There's no getting out. You wind up paying it for the rest of your life. It's like student loans or something, What are you doing out here? What's going on?
We came out to do this.
Just this?
Well,
No, you doing
no,
something
there's
else.
a little bit more. I was going to do Kimmel, but Smilf got canceled.
What is Smilf?
Single mother I'd like to fuck. It was on
It's a show on
Showtime.
Oh, it was a show you were
Let's
doing?
come to this, yeah. And I played Rosie O'Donnell's love interest.
Wow.
And I love Rosie.
I
I
do
gave
too.
Rosie a break 35 years ago. She never forgot it, and she's always
that's
been
great.
great to me. So we were going to do that, and then it didn't pan out, and the show got canceled. So for sexual impropriety or something, it had nothing to do with me.
Oh, really? That's why it got canceled?
Yeah, evidently. I don't know.
Someone behind the scenes?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
It used to be that was the norm.
Yeah.
Now shows get canceled for that. It's crazy.
And now, thank God they didn't have cameras. Cell phones went early on. I'd still be doing time. I'd be in forever. Are you kidding me? Then we're going down to do the Navy SEALs Family Foundation, a big fundraiser we do every year.
Is that in San Diego?
Yeah,
Yes.
cool. Down at Coronado. And a good buddy of ours, Kerry Jackson, is a Navy SEAL that we golfed with one day, and we've been in touch with ever since. He's
They're
like,
the real badasses.
yeah.
Coronado's that island, right?
Yes.
I've
yeah.
never been.
Oh, yeah. It's
supposed to be beautiful.
I went down, and Mike said, do the obstacle course. I said, all right. So I climbed the rope. That was then there's these logs, and I got on the logs. I run across. They were spinning logs. I nearly broke my back. That was it. I was
You
out.
had to step on them?
Yeah. Run
On
across
spinning
They're
them.
logs?
rolling as
But
you're
they're
running
rolling
across.
as you're running across. Oh, yeah, it's not easy.
Not easy.
Do you have a mouthpiece?
No, I had nothing. Yeah.
Because it seems like...
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank God we were the only ones out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that Coronado Island, I think that's where Dick Cheney lives.
Is that right?
Yeah, or Donald Rumsfeld, one of them rich warmonger type dudes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money out there.
Yeah.
I was in Rumsfeld's office at the Pentagon.
Did you have a cross on you?
Well, no, but my buddy who was with me was reading the stuff on his desk because he's a contractor and he can read upside down, And
really?
So this God, Marine, whatever, realized what he was doing, came over and covered it up. I said, "What'd you see?" He goes, "Not good, not good."
It's amazing that those guys are still alive.
Oh yeah,
Especially Cheney. And he's got somebody else's heart inside of him.
yeah.
Like, oof.
Yeah, I mean, and he had the person killed for that heart.
That's what I used to do. I used to do a bit about it, how he had an extra Secret Service agent that was only eating like vegetables, and real clean, and had to jog every day. It's like, what the fuck? Why do I have to do all this stuff?
It's good.
No, it'll be good.
Everything will be
day,
revealed. Relax.
When Dick has a heart attack, they open that guy up like a fish and pull his still beating heart out. Yeah, he had a pump inside of his body at one point in time where he didn't have a heartbeat. because he had this crazy pump that would just circle the blood, but there was no don't. So if someone checked his heartbeat, they would think he's dead.
Wow.
There was no heartbeat.
Wow. So he
Yeah.
could fake dead.
He could fake dead
in a bad situation.
In a monster movie.
Wow. I had the opposite problem. I was doing a show, and they made, years ago when you did a network show, they made you have a
Physical.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I went in, and the guy goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "What?" He goes, "You feel okay?" I feel great. He goes, "Your heart is beating 283 beats a minute." And I go, "Isn't that like a professional?" He goes, "That's like a dead man, you moron." So he said, "This is horrible." And I said,
283 beats a minute?
yeah, like like crazy beat, like
It would go up and down.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's a lot.
Oh, they rushed me to a hospital, but before they did, I said, "Hey, man, I really need this job. If I give you some money," he goes, "Are you trying to bribe me?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, we got to be dead. And I go, "If I don't have this job, I don't want to live. I need the job."
Jesus.
Yeah. So they rushed me in, and then I atrial fibrillation, and then it was both sides. And I hold the record for being jump started. When they defibrillations. Yeah. The Mass General. Oh yeah, it's like a phone book.
How many times did they do you?
Over 100.
They restarted you 100 times?
Yeah.
Whoa. Can you see the future? Are you
There is no future, Joe.
Oh, Jesus.
Well,
Is it
they
like the
finally
Terminator?
they finally did the ablation where they go in and they burn the part that's flapping, and they found out the other side was flapping too. So it was like 8 hours on the table. I had this great doctor.
My friend, Everlast from the House of Pain?
Yeah.
He's got a fake one. So he takes the microphone and puts it up to his chest. It goes click, 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 click. He's got like a fake valve in there.
Wow.
A titanium valve. It's really creepy.
Wow.
He puts the microphone like right there on his chest. And you can hear it. You can hear it through the mic. It's,
Oh my God! Mine used to go. Brr, 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 brr. It was crazy.
so
But I didn't
creepy.
know. I was asymptomatic, And I said to the doctor, I said, "Well, what do you think?" He goes, "Well, your weight probably has something to do." I said, "Well, I did a lot of blow." He goes, "You'd have to do incredible amounts of blow." I said, "Well, there's a small mountain in Peru missing." And he goes, "That much, Lenny?" I go, "That much, yeah."
Well, that fucking whole crew. I mean, Sweeney and I talked about it when he did the show. That whole crew, that Nick Comedy Stop crew, was a cocaine fucking extravaganza.
Oh yeah.
I was very fortunate that I never did coke.
Oh,
was
don't,
not my thing.
don't.
won't.
I went to Colombia to see where it was made. I really did.
Really?
Yeah. I was going on
Because you were a connoisseur?
Oh my God!
Like
I
doing
went
a
there.
wine
Took
tour?
me 2 days to score. I said, "Where's all the blow?" Yeah, they said, "We sent it all to America, Mr. Lenny." I go, "Well, hold on. There's got to be a new shipment." And then I got an ounce of blow for $200. I had
that a lot?
I couldn't even finish it in a week. But I tried.
How much is an ounce of blow? What does it look like?
The
the
Scarface
size?
thing?
Yeah.
Bigger than that.
That's
That's
like
an ounce?
28 grams.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
An ounce of
Yeah.
blow.
But an ounce of pot is like
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing with coke?
It seemed bigger to me. I had it everywhere. Yeah, I remember the girl said, "Lenny, you have to decide whether it's a Coke or me." I said, "You want a line for the road?" I know what happened to her, but it was amazing. I really enjoyed Colombia, but
Did you go there just for coke?
yeah. Now I went back recently. A couple of years ago, I went to do a burn notice. They were filming a movie.
Okay.
And they asked me to come down, and I went down there, and I went, I remember some of this, but I wasn't, doing it now, but it's all Spanish. I had no one to run lines with.
When did you stop doing it?
22 years
years.
ago.
Wow.
23. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of time.
Well, I had to. I was doing this movie, and I finished. The guy, I had to throw this guy through a wall, and I really liked the guy, and I didn't want to hurt him. And he said, no, you got to. So I put him through the wall and took a door off the hinges, and they said, "Lenny, we don't own that door. This is Whitey Bulger's place." I go, "Hey, man, I'm done after today. Someone's going to pay Whitey." So the guy, I finished, and I bought a bag of blow and whiskey and a bag of dope and some beers. And guys, "You happy?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want to get real happy?" I said, "You don't scare me." So we'll pick you up at 6 a.m. So I went back to the hotel and met my buddy, my childhood buddy. And we went out. He said, "Let's see how many bars we can go to before they charge us for booze." So, "Hey, Lenny, yeah." So we ended up at the Tall Ships down at Faneuil Hall, and the guy didn't know me, so we paid. We said, "We'll stay here." Then he realized who I was. Then we drank free. Went back, and we were doing blow, and the door bangs open. And Wiggle freaks out. He said, "What is it?" He said, "The guys, come on, we're going to like a rave." And he took me to an AA meeting in South Boston, and it clicked. You know, I thought it was a gag. I said, I had the blow with me, and I said, "Come on, one's no lines. Just listen."
This is after a bender?
After what? During a bender. I still had the blow on me, and I thought it was a rave. I thought we were going, with the
Who took you?
Base, Phil Barano. He's still my sponsor today. You know,
Wow,
and he's a young kid. And I said, well, how did you get? I said, did you have a problem? He says, I used to go into banks with a shotgun. Everyone on the floor. I go, you can be my sponsor. Yeah.
Wow. And the best thing, Joe, we got sober together.
Yeah.
Lenny and I, same day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 23 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the thing about that whole Boston cruise, that it was all kind of tied to drugs.
Oh.
And the comedy had that feel to it because the comedy was frantic. And there was a thing, bang, bang, bang. There was a thing about the guys who came out of Boston, like still to this day, they had like the fastest pace, the most punchlines, and the audiences there were used to that. So they didn't want any bullshit.
And they would tell you, they would if you weren't good, they go, "You suck tonight, get off." And we would have, there were times when I'd say, "This is going to be new material tonight. Anyone who doesn't do new material, the minute you do anything you've done before, get off the stage." So Roger's going to be sitting at the back, and you've done that. He'd throw a shot glass, it would shatter on the wall. Go, next. It was just, and it made you come. And the people, like you said, the audiences that came in there would come every week.
Yeah.
So you'd have to, and they would not settle for any bullshit. That blows. That's no good. Dump that.
There was a whole scene there. It wasn't just the comics. It was like comedy connoisseurs. There was so many people that came to those clubs.
The shows,
Pull it up, Mike.
The shows that were legendary were the Ding Ho on a Wednesday night. Lenny would put like 32 acts on. And of all, I'd go, "Len, we got to get the show over." Because shut up, I got a couple more guys I want to give a break to. and I'd have guys going on till 2 in the morning.
And the liquor license that too. The cops would come, "Lenny, you got to stop." And I go, "Have a drink and we'll finish up." But the first night he took over, when Cremens left, Cremens was leaving, and
what year was this?
Jesus, Joe.
85, 86, somewhere around there.
I thought it closed at 84. No?
I could be wrong on the.
I don't know.
It was short.
Closed before I came in 88.
You know what, Joe? You're right. Probably around 84. I took over from Barry. And
so Shun Lee says to me, "Hey man, Barry's leaving. Will you stay for me? I'll double your pay." And I go, "Yeah, all right, I'll stay." It was $15 to $30, right, at the time, And he says, "You run the club." I go, "Oh no, man, I'm not. I'll get a guy." He goes, "Who?" He goes, "My little brother. He just got laid off at Polaroid." He goes, "Well, what if he screws us?" I said, "If he screws us, I'll tell my mother. We'll be fine." So he comes in, and the first thing he says to Shun, he goes, "All right, the food sucks. Close the back room. Close the restaurant. We're going to make that a showroom too." So you'd open the front room, you'd go through the kitchen and do a show in the back room. Then you'd come back there and wait till and we'd start. We were doing 6 shows a night. But the first night he comes in, I was pretty lit up. He goes, "You're not going on tonight. You're drunk." And I go, "Fuck you, man. You're my little brother. I just got you the fucking job. Fuck you. I'll do whatever I want. Blah, blah, blah." So he gets Gavin, and they go, "Come on, man. Let's go in the cooler. We'll do a line." So we're in the cooler. We're doing lines. And Gavin goes, "I'll be right back." I go out in here. Click. The pricks locked me. They locked me.
He was so high. I said, "You're not going on tonight."
They locked me in the cooler, and I'm back. And so I said, "I'll show them." I started fucking drinking everything in there. I passed out. They had to get me out of there. And I kept. I apologized. "Okay, you were right." But he turned it into a gold mine. We were doing 6 shows a night, 3 in the front, 3 in the back.
Well, Sweeney said that the guy lost it in a gambling game.
Yeah. He used
dominoes.
to play Chinese dominoes over in Chinatown, and he didn't pay his food tax, and so I guess a year and a half later they came and locked it up. But
well, first they came and he would send a kid out to a liquor store to buy booze because they took all the booze. So we'd have to buy booze for that night. And then after that, they came and they took the chairs, they took the tables. It was incredible. Yeah, he lost everything.
But it was Wednesday night Lenny, Thursday night DJ Hazard, Friday night Don Gavin, Saturday night Cremens, and Sweeney on Sunday night. and, just killer shows.
And what people don't know is that Boston had a different way of doing it. So if it was the Lenny Clarke show, Lenny would host the show.
Right.
Lenny would go on. You would do like, what, 10, 15 minutes or something like that?
Supposed to. He'd open with 40.
Well, you know why? You know why I came up with that joke? That was my idea because because it used to be, opening, mid-act, closer.
Yeah.
And I was always a closer. I'm going, hey man, if I host it, I can do lines and smoke dope in between the guys. And I said, well, if someone has a bad set, I can pick it up, or I can, be the buffer while they get over that guy. And it just took off.
Well, it was a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
It really was. And then you would kind of close it too, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there were different nights, different crowds too. Like Gav, like I was always working Wednesdays, and I'd be other clubs, but I always wanted to work Gav's show because Gav had a great show, and they didn't like me. I was like, Gav's crowd did not go for me. They hated me, and I said, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It was a whole, and I had to learn to adapt to different audiences because.
What was the difference between Gavin's crowd?
Gav used to say it was more. They were smart. They were
smarter.
They were smart.
Well, he was a smart motherfucker.
Yeah, he's got more degrees than a
He's got a
thermometer.
couple of masters.
Yeah. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh man,
His fucking comedy was so sharp. He would have punchlines you never saw coming on top of punchlines you never saw. You were recovering from the last punchline, then he would hit you with another one.
Oh yeah, it was. The first time I saw him, he came on, and I watched him, and I said to him after the show, "How long you been doing this?" He goes, "It's my first time." I go, "You're a fucking lying." Gav goes, "We're not off to a good start, right?" and like it was like competitive. It was real competitive. And one night, I was doing a show with him. And some guy came on stage behind me. He was coming behind me. And Gav jumped over this railing and escorted the guy off. And I said, hey, man, that was pretty cool. He goes, I got you back. And then we drove home to his place. And it was like 3 days getting high. And we've been friends ever since. But it's funny because he said to me, he goes, Lenny, I got to ask you a question. He goes, if you could be the richest person or the most famous person, what would it be? I said, oh, without doubt, the most famous. He goes, really? He goes, okay. 6 weeks later, I said, Gav, I thought about it. You're right. I'd rather be the richest. The fame shit's a bunch of bullshit. He goes, well, I'm glad you came around. See what I mean by smarter? Yeah, he's nuts.
Yeah, if you're the most famous person, you're just going to get stalked everywhere.
Oh, it's horrible.
You'd rather be that dude that nobody knows is rich.
Of course. I have 5 billionaire friends. Billionaire, not millionaire. Billionaire friends.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I'm like their their pet project, But I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, to live like that. That show Billions. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, I've never seen it.
It's these guys are just like that. More money than you could spend. More than you could spend.
Yeah, that's a weird life.
Yeah,
a weird life where everybody else is struggling and
but no one knows them. No, these
Yeah.
people. Well, some of them people know, but these people are like anonymous, and they've more money than you could ever. Jets,
that's very clever.
Yachts. Oh yeah, that's what I would like that.
That's
But
the way to go.
Yeah.
And even if you were a comic, you'd rather just do clubs. Just show up and do clubs and just do a set. Once you're on stage telling jokes, either they laugh or they don't laugh. If you're funny, you'll kill. It doesn't matter if you're famous.
I would like to. I would like to be. I like doing theaters now because it's a different crowd. I still do a lot of clubs. I work Mike's club all the time. Thank God for him. But
And thank God for me.
Yeah,
He keeps me open.
There's some people. You know how when you work a club, you get some drunk. All it takes is one person. Because I still go with the flow. I mean, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go, and I try to keep it, with what's happening in the news today. And someone will just, and you go, oh man, they break the rhythm. And I want to stab them. But you can't.
Well, it doesn't always happen though. That's the thing. It does happen, but it doesn't always
you're
happen.
right.
Most of the time, it's great.
But Len just can't block it out. It's he's doing it.
No
and
one
it's there.
blocks it out worse than DePaulo.
Oh,
He's the worst. You don't even have to say anything. You just have a look on your face that he doesn't like. What? You don't think this is funny? Look, what are you fucking?
Where'd you learn to whisper in a sawmill?
Yeah.
I'm working with Nick. We're doing some comedy tour up in Toronto or maybe Ottawa, some shit. And I was looking at him. I was hosting. I'm looking at him, and he was. I think he was smoking at the time, and it was a dark, dingy club, and it looked like watching Lenny Bruce. It was just like that. So I'm laughing. So I step outside the room, and there's this woman, a pregnant woman, goes, "Oh my God! I really enjoyed you, but he's gonna make me have my baby." Oh, but he is so funny.
He's a funny motherfucker, and he's been going crazy lately because the Mueller report got released.
Yeah,
and they said that there was no collusion between Trump and the Russians. So all of his Twitter, all of his Instagram is just attacking liberals. It's just like why do you fucking care? Why do you care?
Yeah. You can't
retire, you lying cocksucker. It's just like so crazy. Resign. He's so crazy. Put a gun. He's telling people to put a gun in their mouth. Like isn't that how he got kicked off of Twitter in the first place?
I'm serious.
Yeah. He was telling people to kill themselves. Yeah, he's doing that now on Twitter. He's such a fucking animal. He's always been
funny
that way
guy
too.
though.
Oh,
hilarious.
God. He kills me every time.
Brilliant joke writer.
Yeah.
Always
he's
has
awesome.
it. He was a guy that made me think like, oh, okay, you don't have to be like a little skinny guy to do stand-up. Like,
right.
Because like he was this, back in the day, he was playing football.
Yeah.
He's a handsome guy. And he's
good looking.
fucking jacked. And I was like, all you have to do is be funny.
And women loved him.
Yeah.
And he would just shit on them. And they love him even more. And I'm going, wow, it's just brilliant.
And Nicky was pretty funny to start. You know, I always have him sit. You know, he was having good shows, and he was out at the clubs every night, and he was always angry from the beginning.
Always.
The beginning.
I had him on news radio. He played my brother, and you know, DePaulo's always had this attitude that everyone's trying to fuck him over. You know? And even then, I got him this gig, and it's almost like he made it happen. Like, it was him and Brian Callen and Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter were playing my brothers. And on the episode, they beat the fuck out of me. We all beat the fuck out of each other, broke bottles over our head. Brian Callen threw me through a window. And before the thing was cast, I had told the producer, I said, I got this comic. He's hilarious. I go, he looks like he could be my brother. Let's hire him. He goes, yeah, perfect. He goes, can he read? So I could see the read. So he comes in and reads, and he goes, yeah, he's great, perfect. But the casting agent had different ideas. She had a friend who she wanted to get in the role.
Yeah.
So she cast this other guy, unbeknownst that I had already made a deal with the producer and the showrunner. And so they call Nick up and tell them that he didn't get the gig. And he's like, what the fuck? I didn't get the fucking gig. And I go, no, you got the gig. He goes, hey, fucking just told me I don't have the fucking gig.
Someone's lying.
So I make the phone call and find out what happened. And, you know, and she's like, well, I already hired my friend. I go, you weren't supposed to hire your friend. I go, what are you doing? Right. And she's like, well, I just, you know, I don't know what to do. I already hired this guy. I go, well, tell him he's fired. Like, this is real simple. Like, the producer wants it. The network wants him. And so Nick came back, and Nick got the part, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, it worked out? Like, he was on the set. He's like, you mean the world's not fucking me over? I go, dude, I told you. You're my friend. I wanted you on the show. And it worked out. But it was like he was convinced he was going to get fucked over. He got fucked over. He's like, I knew it. And then he got the gig, and he's like, what? What is happening?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a
Want to
great
be
guy.
on the show.
Great
I love
guy.
him. I love that guy to death.
You know, I enjoy when you hear stories about people remembering where they came from and they help people out. And when I was doing the Sunday comics at Fox, and it didn't start out well. I always wanted to go in and entertain the troops, but when I got Lenny with CBS, they said, no, you're $1 million prop. You're not going anywhere. So when the troops came home, my show had got canceled. That's a whole other different story.
I want to talk about that story. Though.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's interesting.
It's a great story.
So I go to 29 Pounds Marine Base. We pull up in a limo. We blow anything up, down, and anything down, up. And I said, I'm going to like this place. So we go in, and George Lopez there, and George Miller, a couple of comics. Nice. So I go up to Jeff Altman, and he's the host. And I go to shake his hand, and he blows me away, gives me a hi-hat, walks away, and I go, oh, you know, what's this? So they say, later in the show, they said, listen, Jeff, we have this kid who got a Purple Heart. He's back now, and we want to unite him with his mother. And he goes, that's kind of corny. And he walks off. I go, I'll do it. And so I go, hey, how you doing, Corporal? He says, well, you know, I miss my family. Well, that's great, because we brought your mother in to be like, yay! The crowd goes crazy. And they said, you want his job? I said, yeah, give me $1 more than him. And I took over the Sunday comics that night.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, so then they said, we go from like 100 to 70 in the ratings. And they said, what do you want? I said, I want you to hire this kid, Kenny Rogers, as my head writer. And they go, what's he written? I said, well, he wrote me a couple letters from prison and one from the nut house. And they go, no, I'm serious. You told me what I want. This is what I want. So they hire him. And they fly him out. I pick him up at the airport. And we drive to my place in Marina Del Rey. And he goes, which floor is yours? I go, all of them. You know, I was living in like a $3 million place at the time. And he goes, this is incredible. So we get jammed up for 3 days. Coke and drinking. And the third day he comes down, he's all banged up. He goes, Lenny, he goes, I love you, man, but he goes, I got a wife and kid now. I can't fuck this up. I really need the job. I said, okay, all right, we'll go to work. So we drive down to Fox. And we got my parking space at the top of the roof. It's great. And we're going by A Current Affair, which used to be Murray Povich's use. I said, you people suck. You shouldn't even have all these offices. And he goes, what's wrong? I said, we're killing them in the ratings. They get all the... So we go down, and I said to my secretary, hold all my calls. We go in my office, and there's 3 couches. He said, why 3 couches? I said, when people come over, they might want a nap, right? So they said, okay, Mr. Clarke, they're ready for Kenny. So I bring Kenny in to meet the producers, and I said, just come by the office when you're done. So 20 minutes later, he comes bursting into my office. You're not going to believe it. You're the fucking boss. You know what they told me? My job is to make you happy. Oh, God, he was great.
Well, that show was a great show, but there was a crazy thing attached to that with your agent that wound up fucking over not just you, but a slew of people. One guy.
Oh, Bob Williams.
Bob Williams.
What was the Star Agency? Is that what the fuck was the name
Spotlight.
of it? Spotlight.
Yeah. Oh, he fucked everybody. And
Jerry Seinfeld, too, right? Like $1 million.
But I think Seinfeld, and, well, when I got Lenny, and I was making all sorts of money, they said, you need an agent. I said, I want Seinfeld and Leno's agent, you know. And at the same time, he was doing both of them. So I figured these guys are the biggest guys in the business. And he screwed them, but they got their money back. I was like the lowest guy in the totem pole. So I got screwed for like $2 million.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, and it was bad.
I remember people were trying to keep you from killing him.
Yeah, I found out where his kids went to school and everything, you know, but you can't do that. You know, you got to let it go. So,
Yeah.
But it took a long
Whatever
time.
happened? Is that guy still in the business?
Country. He's in country music.
Oh,
now.
they didn't know?
Yeah.
They didn't get the memo? Fuck.
Oh yeah, it was. I was so pissed. I mean, because not only did I have the show, but when I went there, everything was going good, and I invited Barry Diller to at Fox. He was the head of Fox at the time. I would throw a party for the entire cast, the crew, everyone at Fox, and they all showed up. And you know, I showcased a bunch of my friends so they could get jobs. And Barry Diller goes, "You've really done a great job for us." I said, "I really love working with you, Mr. Diller." He said, "Okay." So later in the night, this Asian man came up to me. He goes, "Everyone likes you, but I don't get it." And I said, well, stick around, Hop Sing. You'll catch on. And I didn't think anything of it. The next morning, they had given me like $1 million bonus, and they raised my weekly salary. I mean, it was a lot of money. It was like over $2 million. And I was going to Dallas to do the Texas State Fair with one of the Mandrell sisters, not Earlene or the other one, just some crazy name. And I land in Dallas, and he calls me. He says, I got good news and bad news. I said, give me the bad news. He goes, did you have a problem with a Chinese guy last night? I said, no. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Why? He goes, well, that's Barry Diller's right-hand man. You're done. They threw you off the lot. I said, what's the good news? He said, we got your money. And I go, I want my job. I said, let me apologize to the guy. I didn't mean it. I didn't know. And they go, no, they've already taken all the stuff out of your office and put it in boxes.
Wow.
And you're done. And now I do the state fair. And I'm going, man, this sucks. I mean, I want to get back to L.A. to try and salvage, the career, because, I mean, this is another network that I'm no longer welcome at.
Just from one conversation?
I've got stories. I wish I'd never opened my mouth. I mean, I've screwed. Yeah, no one has fucked up my life more than myself. And unintentional,
Right.
So we're doing the state fair, and this horse with a buckboard goes out of control, and the horse is swinging, and the buckboard's coming towards the viewing stand. So I grabbed the Mandrell girl and get her out of it just as the whole thing is wiped out. And I'm saying, "Did you get that? Did they get that on tape?" But that was the end of my career at Fox.
That's crazy. From one conversation where a guy said he didn't like you.
How about this? How about when I'm at I have Lenny at CBS, and it was doing good, and then the Gulf War came out. That killed me, and then they brought me back, and we were hanging on by a thread, and they said, listen, forget about the show. We think you're a great actor. Let's give you a movie deal. And I went, really? He says, yeah, we're going to give you first picture $2 million, and then the next picture would be no, first $1 million, and then $2 million, and then $2 million, $5 million 3-picture deal. I'm going, I can't believe this happened. Is that one question? Can you act? And I said, hey, I'm making believe I'm having fun with you, aren't I? Get out. I went, hey man, I was only kidding. That was pretty good. Get out. And I go, I just cost myself $5 million, but just by being funny, and I said, I'll never do that again. So I read, like that's going to happen, right? So wait, Joe, it gets better. I read for this movie, True Romance, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that movie? So, I mean, I get clean, I get straight, I work on the lines, I'm ready. So I go over, and it's Ridley Scott or his brother, one of the famous Scott directors, and a kid comes out. I said, how many people in there? He goes, 13. I said, because I always like to know how many are in the room, because you don't want to go in there. So I walk in, and I look at the people. He goes, you ready? I go, yeah. I throw the script on the floor. He goes, I guess you are ready. He goes, hit it. Dimes was hitting from the left. I was hitting from right. I said, you better like it because you're never going to lick pussy again. He goes, whoa, 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 whoa. What does it say, lick pussy? I said, right in the script. He picks up and says, like pussy. I said, well, if you like it, you lick it, right? Everyone in the room breaks out. He goes, get out of my office. I go, that was quick. Get out. So I'm driving home, and my agent calls me and says, what did you do to Ridley Scott? I go, what? He said you're a brilliant actor, but you got to get off the drugs. I said, I haven't done coke in 2 weeks. I was serious for this part. Who's he getting it to? Tom Sizemore and Chris Penn. They get the job. There's no justice.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Guys who were like
Yeah.
up to their neck in coke.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy that they got that upset. I'm having fun. I'm pretending I'm having fun with you.
I make them believe I'm having fun with you.
Just all it took.
Because I thought we were,
having fun.
They really in. They're giving you, offering you millions of dollars. I'm thinking, isn't this nice? You know.
That's a problem with people that have so much power. They want you to suck their dick every second of the day, and as soon as there's any deviation at all, they think you're. Oh, you think you're a smart ass? You're done in this town.
Well, you know how
that kind of power, you know.
You know how guys sleep with women, to get head. I had a woman told me she wanted to fuck me, but she was hideous, and it was at 9 in the morning. I'm going, Jesus, I'm not even drunk. I'm trying to back out of it. I'm going, no. I didn't get that job either. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, there was casting couches for both sides. I knew a lady who'd bang all these like sad little actor guys. She was always she was a casting lady, and she'd have these little sad actor guys. They all like look all squeamish and shit, and you're like, oh, look at her, she's got that guy on a rope too. And she would bang them all. She would get these guys parked. She would fuck them all.
Yeah.
And she was aggressive.
Well, this one was aggressive, but I'm going, it's creeping me out, Not because it's not what I wanted.
The thing is, though, there's no victim there.
No.
Like, nobody feels sorry for those guys at all. Not even for a second. A guy that fucks a lady who's a casting director, like, hey, he decided to do what he wanted to do. It's like, it's such a different thing than a guy being a casting agent that fucks the actress.
I would fuck a dry cleaner for free dry cleaning. I mean, it's not, it's just a matter of what do you want to do? How bad is that?
It's not that bad at all. Yeah, it's a different animal. It's funny. Yeah, but that whole model's out the window now with all this Me Too stuff. And after Weinstein got shot down, I don't act. I retired from acting, so I'd like to see what it's like now and wonder how much different it is and how much it's changed. I bet it's changed quite a bit.
Well, recently, Joe, I gave Louis a shot at the club, after his.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And, Louis called me up and said, hey, do you mind if I do a spot? And I thought about it. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I like Louis. He wasn't arrested or convicted of anything. And so I put him in. He did fantastic.
He calls me. He said, what do you think? I said, yeah, put him on.
After that evening, the backlash was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I go, how long is enough? What does this guy have to do to try to get his career back?
Right, but what is the backlash, though? Because the backlash is not the actual customers, right?
No, it was, they grabbed some female comics
who aren't working.
That aren't working for me, and that said that Mike locked the doors and put a sexual predator on stage. And I was like, everyone there enjoyed Louis, and I'm just trying to help a friend get his life back.
He came in, And he walked over to me. I give him a big hug. He goes, we got no problem? I go, no, you nitwit. I said, I would have called you if that prick Wright had given me a number. He didn't give me a number. He goes, that's not right. I go, I know, that's what I told him. I said, so I bring him on stage. He said, ladies and gentlemen, this Me Too thing and everything. Here's a guy who didn't touch any women. Matter of fact, he touched himself. That was the problem. They just happened to be in the room. And I said, you could have jerked off in front of me as long as you didn't get on my shirt. My shirts are pretty expensive. I said, but these are people you gave a job to. The people that turned on him, he gave jobs to. And that's not right.
Well, there's a lot to that story.
I don't know.
There's a lot to that story that would make him look very different than a lot of these people that are accusing him. And one day I think he's going to tell that story. I had a conversation with him about it. It's not as cut and dry as everybody thinks. Right. Everybody thinks he had power over these women and he pulled his dick out and started. No, there was a lot of sex talk. There was a lot of flirting. There was a lot going on. It wasn't that simple. And he's
he's very contrite about it.
Yes, very, very. And he knows he fucked up. And by the way, he hadn't done anything like that in more than a decade. Right. It was a long time. He's got a kinky thing. He likes jerking off in front of people.
Listen, I can't even jerk off if the neighbors are home. I'm a wreck. I make weird faces and everything. So it wouldn't be fun for anyone. But
he's not a bad guy.
No, he's a good guy.
He's not a rapist. He's not a sexual predator.
He didn't touch anybody.
He caught the worst part of the wave.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're in the ocean and you could be in the ocean on a fucking surfboard and you just catch this little tiny wave and everything's fine. Or you could fuck up and be in the right spot when that giant wave comes and slams you in the head and you have the same intention in the same person. And in other times in history, he would have been fine. He would probably be fine today. Because everything is there's enough of the females that have come out that have been full of shit, like Asia Argento and the girl who accused Chris Hardwick, and then Chris Hardwick released all these text messages that show that she actually cheated on him and she wanted him back, and she's just trying to punish him for all this. But there's a few of those situations now where people realize, well, there's definitely sexual predators and there's definitely bad men, but there's also women who are taking advantage of this movement.
Right.
And I think the world is sort of like calmed down a little. Like the Asia Argento one was a big one. When it turned out that she was calling Harvey Weinstein a rapist while she was fucking a 17-year-old.
Right.
She played his mom in a movie 10 years ago when he was 7. It's like, Jesus Christ, like how could you have that kind of hypocrisy? But there's a lot of that in people that are screaming for attention at the front of the line of a lot of these things. A lot of them have like dark secrets themselves.
Yeah.
And they're like these people that don't want a guy like Louis to have a road to redemption. They don't want him to work. Or even a guy like Aziz Ansari, which is even worse. He had a bad date with a girl.
Right.
Like a bad date where she blew him like 3 different times and didn't want to keep going.
Well, wait. You said
it.
Bad date. That sounds pretty good to me.
It's pretty good.
No,
it's better than no blowing.
Right.
Yeah, but the whole thing was so crazy. It's like there's more than one side to every story like that, and to take someone's opinion or someone's perception of something as 100% the actual event that happened without any other evidence, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I don't think I just think people have to recognize that Louis in particular. He's been out of work. He was out of work for 10 months. Yep. He lost all of his shows. People think he didn't suffer from that.
Oh, he lost $30 million, Joe.
People that think he didn't suffer are crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy. If you think he should never be allowed to work again, well, he's not a criminal. Okay?
Right.
He's not in jail.
Right.
So what are you saying? Like he shouldn't be able to do stand-up?
Everyone deserves a second
And that was
chance.
my point.
Yeah.
I said, sure, Louis, come in. You know what?
Yeah.
I wanted to give him a fighting chance, and I guess he is back doing clubs now. And
he's doing a lot of clubs.
And he was very...
But that's it. It's all he's trying to do. He's just
trying to get his life back.
Yes. He's building his act again, doing clubs. And some fucking asshole releases his whole act on YouTube, so now all that material he has to chuck away.
Right.
So he was writing during the time he was gone, but not performing.
Right.
And then he puts together, an act that, look, as well as anybody, when you have new shit, it's got some goddamn holes in it, right? There's no way it comes up. I've never written a bit ever, maybe 1 or 2 in my whole career that was the finished bit when I first did it on stage. Maybe 1 or 2 ever. They're always clunky, and sometimes you have ideas. You're like, why the fuck did I even try that one? Like the Parkland shooter bit, like when he was doing that bit, which is it's a very unfortunate bit,
right?
Especially when people who aren't in the club hear it, and then. But who knows what that bit would have been
if
you
someone
gave him,
didn't tape it.
Yeah, if you gave him a year to work it out,
Right.
he probably would have figured out a way to make it where it wasn't offensive and it didn't shit on those kids in the same way.
My best stuff was years ago, before cell phones and because
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
Yeah.
just went out there, and now when I'm on stage, I'm constantly thinking, "Oh, don't go there, don't do that,
Right.
don't cross that line,"
Yep.
because some,
But that's a terrible feeling for a
Oh,
comic.
it's horrible. It's
Because
horrible.
half the funny shit that you and I have laughed at hard was something that someone definitely shouldn't have said.
Oh, absolutely.
But they knew they shouldn't have said it. That's why they were saying it. They were saying it to make the audience laugh because they were like, I can't believe he fucking said that.
yeah.
Not like he means it,
No,
like that's his actual thoughts.
There's no maliciousness behind
No.
it. I have no. You think I want people to spend $30-$40 to go out and have me piss them off and ruin your night with your wife or your
Exactly.
date? No,
No.
you idiot! I'm just trying to make you laugh. you know?
Exactly.
So now it's it's just so.
Joe, I can remember back with you and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
It was like, who could work the dirtiest? You guys would be in the back just dying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
There were nights. Me and Kenny would get high and say, "Let's see if we can walk the room." On purpose. I've seen people suck and have a room, but I mean, we'd laugh. Oh my God! I remember one night I was doing great, and I said, let me, and I was getting fucked up, and I turned on the crowd, and then I felt bad because they were just so upset and so disgusted with me. And these are like regulars who usually come. I started trying to win them back. It took me an hour and a half just to get them back. But I remember I did a show in Orlando. There was a guy heckling me. I said, "Listen, if you don't shut up, I'm going to come down there and pop you right in the fucking face." And I did. I went
no.
off the stage and popped this fucking guy right. He was bleeding and everything. And the crowd was on his side.
Oh,
It was
no.
he's attacking us. And it took me 45 minutes just to break even. And then
Wait, you kept going after you punched the guy in the face?
yeah.
Well, that's amazing in and of itself.
Oh God! Orlando. I don't know what. I know it was Orlando. It was. I was doing a bunch of one-nighters, and I was because the crowd was a big crowd. Must have been like 300 people, and they all loved me. And this guy and I fucking hated it. And I went right. I put the mic down, and bang, right in the. And he went down. He was screaming and crying. I go, wow! And I went up, and the people were like.
That's the difference between Boston and Orlando.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that.
You gave me the best advice anybody ever gave me when I was starting out. You did.
Right.
And right after your brother gave me the worst advice.
True.
Mike told me to work. Well, it was good advice at the time. It was smart advice.
I liked you. I just said, Joe, I think maybe you should try to clean it up a bit. And you're like, yeah. And Lenny comes over and says, fuck him. And he goes, don't listen to him. You're a great kid. I love you. Don't change a thing.
Yeah, you pumped me up, man.
Well, the thing was, you made me laugh, because, I mean, I've seen everybody. When I started doing comedy, 41 years ago, there was only 100 comedians, maybe, the whole country. You know what? If I heard of someone, I would fly to their town to go on stage and say, let's get on, Kennison,
Wow.
and Slayton in San Francisco, people that Dom in Philadelphia, people I thought were really good and admired. I would like to see what it is, and I became friends with all of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it just blew up. I mean, now you don't even have to have an act. You're on YouTube or.
Yeah, you still have to have an act when you get in front of those live audiences.
You think so?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen those YouTube guys eat shit.
Yeah.
But they're taking
But they
fortune.
do draw people out to the club. And
For a while, they'll do it for a while. You trick people for a little bit, unless they become good. I
Yeah.
mean, they keep putting in the work and do the act. I mean, and develop an act. But you either can do it or you don't. Like Jerry Seinfeld once said, very famously, that if you're famous, it buys you 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Buys you 30 seconds in front of a crowd. They're happy you're there. They'll give you 30 seconds, and after that, like, okay, what do you got? Where's the jokes?
What the country?
Hey, he's a fucking good joke writer.
Yeah.
That guy's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
he's still slinging.
he's still out there.
Yakov Smirnoff
Yep.
still slinging it. He's at the Comedy Store every now and again. I think he's still in Branson.
He has the
Still got-
theater in Branson.
Yeah.
But he comes down to the store, and I worked with him a couple of times. He's good.
Yeah.
He writes. He's got new material. He looks good too. He's healthy and thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like if those YouTube guys, they have a shortcut, right? They make funny videos on YouTube, and they'll get a crowd even though they're not really funny. But if they put in the work, they can pull it off. Like it has been done. The most courageous guy I ever saw was Charlie Murphy.
Yep.
Because Charlie Murphy was essentially a famous open micer.
Right.
And that fucking guy he started out hosting. It would be him and Donnell and Bill Burr, and they would do these shows together. And Charlie had never done stand-up, but he had the most famous brother ever. I mean, his brother was fucking Eddie Murphy, and people saw him on the Chappelle Show.
Chappelle Show really
they loved him
set
from
him
that.
up.
Yeah.
So he became famous, and then the guy had balls of fucking steel, man. I did a 22-show tour with him, and he had only been doing comedy for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I had been doing comedy for more than 20.
Yeah.
And we were co-headlining. So I would headline one night, he would headline the other night. And I mean, to be able to go on after a guy who's been doing comedy 24 years or whatever the fuck it was, and go on after him and do 40 minutes when you've only been doing, and just the balls that guy had.
Yeah.
And he would just go on out there like he owned the place.
Yeah. But he passed away, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, he passed away. About a little over a year ago.
I think all the people that we work with that they're not here anymore.
A lot of
them going. My good God.
Except the ones that suck. They're still out here fucking.
Hey, I
ticking.
worked. You know, you always make it a point, and but people stealing material. One of the biggest thieves that ever lived was Ollie Joe Prater.
I never met him.
He was this big fat redneck guy, and we're working down south someplace, maybe Florida, and we're in the green room, and he watches the Tonight Show, and it's on, and we're doing the Late Show, and Carson comes out, does his monologue, and after his monologue, all right, ladies and gentlemen, Ollie Joe Prater, he went out and did Carson's monologue around the standing ovation. And I'm going, no one will ever know. There was no VCRs back then. There were no tapes. There was nothing. I go,
wow.
And he stole one of my jokes. I said, man, you stole my joke? Yeah, but I do it better. I go, no, you don't. You just add a southern twang to it, man. That's all.
Yeah, but I do it better.
That's what he would say to these young kids. Yeah, man, but I do it better. You know?
Well, you know, back in the day, in the Catskills times, they all stole. Like there was no honor amongst thieves back then, and everyone just had jokes. They were just jokes. Like you almost had like a toolbox. Like, oh, I needed 3/8. And then as television came along, and then people started getting in trouble for stealing. You know, Robin got in trouble, and a few other guys got in trouble. And then it sort of died off until like, I mean, when YouTube came along, then it kind of killed it. There's still a few thieves that are still running around to this day, and some of them are famous, but most of the audience knows now. And if you like look at someone who's a thief and then you look at their Instagram comments, like, holy shit, people go after them. Yeah. Like people know now. They know it's the darkest thing you can do when a guy works or a girl works forever on a bit, and then you just come along at the finished product and snatch it and switch a couple words around and pretend you came up with it on your own.
Well, when I started, I was working as a janitor in City Hall in Cambridge, and I took the other janitors out for beers, and we went to the Springfield Station Saloon, and we saw Sweeney. And we saw Sweeney and Bill Campbell, and I'm going, oh my God, Sweeney was just, I said, wow, this guy, I've never seen anything like it. And a couple of guys, a couple other comics went on, the janitor said, you're funnier than these guys, you should do it. So I talked to George McDonald about it at school the next day, and he goes, yeah, man, you should be a comedian. I go, what's that? He goes, that's what you saw last night. So we went over to his house, and we listened to a Woody Allen album. And I didn't even know Woody. I knew Woody Allen from his movie, but I didn't know he was a comedian. And he did that joke about hitting a moose up in Maine. So I went on. I'd never been on stage before. I went on at the Ding Ho, Springfield Street Saloon, and I did this, and it was unbelievable. I changed all my, it was thunderous applause, like a standing ovation. And afterwards, this little old guy comes in the back and says, Mr. Clarke, you're very funny, but you shouldn't use Woody Allen material. I go, Woody who? Fuck you, get out of here. And I go, oh, man, and that was it. That was it. And I sucked for months. I said, but it was all mine. You know, it was crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in the beginning that's Greg Fitzsimmons and I used to steal from each other. We had a deal though, like if he was on, because we both only had like 15 minutes, and we had to do a half.
Right.
So I'd steal 15 of his, he'd steal 15 of mine, and we were best friends.
Oh yeah.
So he'd go, oh dude, that blowjob material killed in fucking Pawtucket.
I said to Kenny one night, I said, Kenny, that was fucking pretty. He goes, that's yours, you fucking moron. You did that 3 weeks ago. Because I didn't know what I was doing.
They can't remember his
I can't remember. You know what I mean? I just.
Some of the best guys don't. Like Joey Diaz, you got to be waiting for Joey off stage with a notebook.
Yeah.
And you got to go, say that again.
Right.
He's like, what did I say? What the fuck did I say?
You know who used to do that? Mike Donovan. Mike Donovan was so good to me because Mike Donovan, when I saw him, I go, wow, this guy's so just brilliant, real technical about everything. And I used to take him out after shows and take him to breakfast, and he would tell me, he says, listen, I'm going to tell you everything you did wrong. There's no need for me to tell you what you did right, because you can tell, but everything you did wrong. And he would listen. I would go, oh, my God. You know. And he helped mold me, and he helped make me technically a better. I owe him a lot. Mike Dunn was great.
He helped me as well. He told me to record all my sets.
Yeah.
He told me to get a tape
still
recorder.
tapes to this day, Joe. Every show.
Yeah, he was like, you never know. You never know. You might say one thing, and you forget you say it, but that one thing might be make the bit 10 times better.
Joe, I listened to him, and I taped everything. There's boxes of shit in the
Never
garage.
listened to it once.
I never listened to it. I taped it all. How about, but I was reading a Lenny Bruce thing, and he used to tape, you know, and so I didn't realize he was taping his act. I thought he was taping, talking into a microphone, right?
That's hilarious.
So, you know, hey, man. So I would write. When I first started doing it, I would write for hours, and I would go down to the kitchen and say, hey, Ma, what do you think it is? And I tell her, Jack, she goes, I don't know. I guess it's good. I said, what do you mean you guess it's good? Who do you like? She said, well, I really like that Rip Taylor. I go, Rip Taylor, fuck him. You know, he's a pet about all this shit right now. I rip him. She goes, that's why Heinz makes 57 varieties. Get over it. You're not the only funny person in the world, right?
Whoa.
So oh, yeah, she didn't take any shit. So later, I'm working at the Dunes one day, and Pauly Shore, I'm up by the pool, and Pauly says, hey, Lenny, I turn around, who's he with but Rip Taylor? Right, so and Rip is, oh, look at that one, and he's, I mean, Joe, he's killing me. And I said, Mr. Taylor, he goes, call me Rip. He goes, oh yeah. He said, is that all you like? So I said, would you talk to my mother? So they bring a phone out to the pool.
No way.
Yeah. And he's, hello, Gene, it's Rip Taylor, and you hear, so he's so nice to her, right? And then he gives me the phone. She goes, I told you he was funny, you idiot. But I appreciate. I ended up doing Hollywood Squares with him. Got to be friends with him. Good guy. But,
that's
and he made me
amazing.
laugh. Like he was funny. You know?
Oh, he was a hilarious guy. He was, well, the Hollywood Squares, I mean, he took over that show.
Yeah.
If you saw Hollywood Squares and Rip Taylor wasn't on, you're like, what the fuck is
where's
this?
Rip? I know, yeah,
Where is he? He's the funny one.
yeah.
He's the guy you want to hear talk. Yeah, Donovan told me to record all my sets, and he would explain to you the fuck meter too. That was something that young comics to this day don't understand.
First time I ever heard that. He goes, well, you broke the fuck meter. I go, what? And I didn't even realize I was doing it. You know? And now when I'm working with guys that I like, I said, you know what? Listen, you don't need the fuck there. Drop the fuck there. You don't need that. The joke's fine without it. You know. Yeah. And I mean, they go, well, and I go, don't do what I do.
But you can do it when it's necessary, and when it's necessary, it'll mean more if you don't have 10 other unusual or unnecessary
and with
fucks.
Mike, you know, he tends to use it where he wants to use it, and he worries about the guys on in front of him. You know, he goes, I don't want you doing it just for the sake of doing it.
Right.
You know, and he was, you know, Mike's a great guy, and he still tapes every show.
Well, he's a great comic, and he's just very aware that the audience can get numb to that word, where it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Where if you don't hear it until he goes up, and then when he goes up, you only hear it when it's necessary.
Right.
It makes it's a presentation issue. Because if there's a guy in front of you, some comics will use the word fuck the same way they use the word They're like, that fucking guy with the fucking thing with the fucking, he's got his fucking hat on and his fucking shoes are tied and his fucking, and he just, by the time you say, and I'm like, fuck you, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Yeah, I used to open for Leno, and he would say to me, you know, you're really funny, but you don't have to be that filthy. You don't have to. And I said, yeah, but I feel like I'm selling out. He goes, you're not selling out. You're cashing in. And my mother always just said, you can get more work. And then I started doing corporate gigs. And people said, listen, Lenny, we don't care if you're mildly amusing as long as you don't say fuck or anything. And I went, yeah. You know, they fly in the jet. They pay 20, 30 grand. And you sign some autographs. Yeah. So, I mean.
So you did sell out.
Yeah.
Those are tempting. That's the siren song. Those corporate gigs.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember, that's where Jay made most of his money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he would make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, he needs it, you know.
Well, that's what he says. You know, he never spent his Tonight Show money.
He never spent any money.
All of his money went to cars, and all that money came from gigs.
Yeah.
And he never put out a special. He had one special on Showtime way back in the day.
In Philly.
Yeah.
In Philly.
That's right.
I remember that.
It was good. It was a good special, and I talked to him about it. He goes, hey, why would I do that? He goes, I put on my act. He goes, even if they give me $1 million, he goes, that's going to cost me money.
But his whole thing was he didn't want to do it because that material was gone.
Yeah.
Once he did it.
Right, but he would go to these places and do the same act like 2 years later, and people would be like, "What the fuck?" But he just had this polished.
People would say to me, "Hey man, I really don't care for him." I said, well, "What?" I said, "Listen to me." I said, "I used to open for him, and one night I was at Nick's, and I was supposed to do 20 minutes, and whenever I was opening for someone, I'd do my time and get off. That's just respect." And he came in and he goes, "Oh," I said, "Okay." So the crowd liked me anyway. And so now I do about 45, and I'm standing up. Crowd's going crazy. And I'm walking off. In my mind, I'm going, follow that fucker. You know what I mean? Right. He gets on stage within 2 minutes. It was like, Lenny, he was that good.
Oh, he was the
Springsteen of comedy.
He was amazing.
People don't know. They don't know because when he used to go on Letterman back when he was young, he had the crazy dark hair, and he was the edgy comic, which is hard for young guys to.
And Joe, he would do a 2-hour show, and it wasn't too much.
Right.
You know, it was killer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's extremely underrated as a comic.
I agree.
And I think it's unfortunate that he doesn't have like a great body of work. Other than Tonight Show monologues, people think of him as the guy with Tonight Show monologue. He's a great stand-up
comic.
He is. Yeah. I mean, and anyone that I see that is really terrific, I give it up. You know, but here's the thing: you make me laugh. You know, I like it. If you're successful and I'm not getting it, I'm going, you know. Yeah, it's good for you. You know, I mean, I don't belittle anybody for their success.
I'm the same way.
You know, but if you make me laugh, then I'll pay to go see it if you make me laugh.
It's a waste of time to worry about something you don't like because obviously other people like it. Like, what do you give a shit?
Yeah.
It's like I feel the same way about music. Like I don't. There's a lot of music I don't like. They sell millions of albums.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah.
There's no room.
No, I just want to laugh. If you can make me laugh, that's why some of the people I hang around with just kill. When we go out to dinner, everyone puts their cell phones on the table, off.
Beautiful.
You know, because it's
that's nice.
You got but you can't. All you need is some nitwit to take you down. You know, oh God. You know.
So many people are fucking interested in just looking at their phone all day.
Now, if I wasn't as old as I am, if I was a young kid coming up now, I'd be an animal. Because I wouldn't care, and you can't say that. Well, let me tell you this right now, you know. And the thing was, you know, when I started, people would say, "Oh my God, what a funny take on that." And it wasn't a funny take; it was what I actually thought. Right. But rather than pop their balloon and let them know I'm crazy, I just, because that's why I've never thought I was funnier than anybody. I just know that I'm sick, and I just use that as under the guise of humor.
It works.
Yeah.
You know it works. Well, we were very lucky that in those days in Boston. I mean, I started in '88, but in those days there was. Remember in Warrington Street, you had the Comedy at the Charles, up the theater above. Yep. Downstairs was the Connection.
Right.
Over here was Nick's. Right. And over there was Duck Soup.
Right.
It was fucking crazy. It was crazy.
Oh my God! He opened one club. What was that club in the Bradford
that was at the
Hotel?
Bradford.
Yeah. What was in the basement?
Jokers.
Okay, this place would hold over 350
it was a beautiful
people.
room.
And one night I had Mike Binder come on. You know Mike.
Sure.
And Mike Binder, I said, do some
He's
time.
doing a documentary right now in the store.
I said, do some time. I'm in the backstage doing lines, and he brought the entire audience up on stage
through the dressing room.
He goes, and this is how the comedians are hard at work while the other comedians are on. I'm chopping up like, hey, how you doing?
Jesus Christ.
I used to do blow on stage and people go, relax, it's just stunt coke. It's not real, you know.
There's no other place like that. Like the scene in New York was very different. The scene in New York, they never did the hosting thing the way they did it in Boston. There wasn't as many clubs that were like close together.
And they would talk to the crowd.
Yeah.
There were no jokes.
Right.
Where you from? And
back then there was.
Yeah.
It's a little different now. Now there's a lot of jokes, but I think I attribute that to the size of the rooms. In New York, you're on top of people. That's the first thing I noticed when I moved to New York. I was like, God, the fucking audience it literally would be like, I would be standing on stage and you would be the front row. Everyone's so close.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no
the
space.
Old Catch a Rising Star, Dangerfield, the Strip.
They're on Stand Up New York.
Stand Up New York.
They're on top of you.
I used to go down. I'd take the train down and stand in line, wait for a number to go on and catch. And they'd put me on last because I was from Boston. And I go up and I'd burned it down. And they go, hey, man, here's your $10. So I go, $10? I give it to the bartender. And I get on the night out and go back. And I did that for years. And finally, like Belzer was good to me, and even Piscopo gave me a break, and some other guys. But Mike said, "What are you going to New York for?" I said, "We'll do it here. Why go to New York? Let's have them come to us." And the Ding Ho was just like an explosion.
Yeah, there was no place like that scene. And I feel so lucky that I started stand-up in '88 in Boston. I feel like I just caught this wave.
Oh, yeah, it was.
When did you leave, Joe?
91, I think, or 92.
Did you go to New York or L.A.?
New York.
New York.
I got signed by Jeff Sussman.
Okay.
That's when I moved to New York.
And then when you...
I was driving limos.
Then when you went to L.A., what was that the baseball show you got with
Hardball.
with Mike Starr?
Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing about Mike Starr, I always wanted to work with him.
He's a great guy.
He is a great guy. He had a ton of incredible body of work. So we do a movie together. We do something up in Canada, and we get in a beef.
You and Mike Starr?
Yeah.
Two if by sea.
Yeah. That's it. So he said. He said something that we were drinking, and we were drinking like Labatt's Black Ice. You get the hangover before you get high. It was that powerful shit, right? And he said something, and he goes, "Hey, man, I waited 10 years to work with you, and you're being like a dick." And he said something. And I leaped over the table. Fight broke out. They had to bust us.
fight?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was on him like a spider monkey. I was all over. He's a big guy. So, but I was.
What year is
I
this?
was. I don't know. I was like 350 at the time. So when I landed on him, he went down. You know, and they broke us up. And they threw us out, and we're walking out. And he goes, "I'm very disappointed in you." And I go, "Disappointed in me? Fuck you! I'm disappointed in you. I waited all this time to work with." And we made up, but it was never the same.
What year was that?
Oh shit! I don't know. A long time ago. Probably 25 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
91, 92, maybe.
Oh, that was probably even before I met him.
Yeah.
I worked with him in '94.
Yeah.
I saw him last night on Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb
I
and
showed
Dumber.
Dumb and
Yeah.
Dumber to my
That's
kids.
a great scene.
Oh man, he's great in that movie.
He is.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. A nice guy. I was drinking. What
are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Shit happens.
Well, it was per diem. When my first couple of movies, they get per diem. I go, "What's this?" He go, "Well, this is per diem money." I go, "What's it for?" "Well, to buy food." Well, we get fed. And we go, "Well, whatever." So I spend it. I spend it. I didn't know you could save it. Like spend it, and I was shit faced. It was crazy, but it was fun. You learn.
Yeah, you learn. Yeah, So I moved to New York in I think it was either '91 or '92, and then I moved out here in '94. So I wasn't in New York very long.
And then you got news radio.
No, yeah, I got Hardball got canceled.
Hardball, that was it. Yeah,
terrible show.
Yeah, but it was on. Was that Fox?
Yeah, it was Fox.
One of Fox's first shows.
I don't think so. No, Married with Children and Simpsons, and there was a lot of shows on there. They were doing sitcoms though.
That's what. One of the.
It wasn't very good. There was a lot of problems with it. It was also an interesting thing to see that the pilot was really funny. Jim Brewer was in the pilot.
Yeah.
And the pilot was great, but the pilot was made by the creators of the show. And then once the network decided to pick it up, then they started to bring in these network hacks to come in and turn it into some bullshit fucking show.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. They rewrote scenes, and it was a disaster. So I got to see how really funny writers and really funny actors can put together a really funny pilot, and then that show could turn into dog shit because of network meddling and executive meddling. And then to go from that to news radio, which was like the polar opposite. That was just they didn't give Paul Simms much grief at all. They let him do whatever the fuck he wanted because he was coming from the Larry Sanders Show, and they knew he was brilliant. And then they had, working with Maura Tierney,
Phil Hartman,
and Stephen Root.
Stephen Root. Stephen Root. He's
incredible.
Amazing cat.
Incredible. It was the luckiest gig ever. I couldn't believe it. I'd be working with those. I never even took acting lessons. I had a couple acting. They made me get a coach when I first got a development deal, and I think I took like 4 or 5 lessons with this lady. I hated it.
I had they give me a deal, and they said you got to take acting lessons. So
Yeah.
I said, all right. So I went to this acting class. And this woman goes, "Okay, I'm going to be a tree," and I heard about that, right? So what kind of tree are you? And he said, "I'm a big tree." And I go, "What kind of big tree? Is that a big willow? I don't know." He said, "The willows aren't big." Okay. And this And this seemed, we want everyone to crowd on like ants. We're all ants. And I go, all right, that's it. I said, I'll see you later. They go, what? I go, I don't know why we're being ants, because what fucking movie am I going to be a giant ant in? You know, that's not what I'm looking for. And I left, and I got Lenny 2 days later, and everyone quit the class. There were like 30 people in the class. Lenny got a series. They all fucking quit. It was crazy.
Well, the problem with acting classes is, I mean, it's good to practice, like to learn how to read lines and this, but it's just pretending. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying I'm Daniel Day-Lewis or I know how to do it like one of those guys. That's a different level of acting. But if you're on a sitcom, and if I'm on a sitcom, I'm playing a guy like me.
Right.
And it's just like stand-up but easier. Yeah. That's what it felt like to me.
Oh, much easier.
It was similar.
So people say, well, what was the difference? I said, well, okay, the difference between doing a sitcom, there's a camera. And if something goes wrong, we take it again. Yeah. At a nightclub, people can throw bottles at you. You know? And
do.
Yeah. Oh, my God. When I opened for Aerosmith, they used to come and see me at Stitches all the time. And I had no idea who they were. And someone said, you know what that is? I said, yes, I'm Aerosmith. He said, man, they're like one of the biggest rock bands in the world. I go, you know, I was into disco. Because it was the disco.
You're into disco?
Yeah. Well, if you could dance, you could get laid. I could dance. It was unbelievable. I was like Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. It was fun. I mean, and it was crazy. So I
want to see you dance.
Yeah, they said, I can still dance. So even when I was a fat guy, I could dance. I was like Gleason, you know. But anyway, they come and they said, we want you to open for us. I go, yeah, no problem. So I go over to the Orpheum Theater. This is one of their many comebacks, you know, after they were still getting high, I think. So I go in where the crowd is going in. You know, and they're saying, hey, man, I heard there's a comedian tonight. We're going to fuck him up. And I'm listening to this. I'm going, hey, man, I'm the comedian. It's myself. Some guys, Lenny. So they call me. What are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to. No, you're going to stage door. I didn't even know they had a stage door. So I go back, and they're all, I mean, it was fucking wild. So I go on stage, and they stop booing right away. And there's like runway lights. Aerosmith had these incredible lights. I couldn't see anything. And this is 38. They're throwing bottles, and bottles are smashing all around me, right? And I'm going, and you know, and then fuck you, bang. And now I'm dodging shit. And I can't see it coming till right out of it. So this kid throws a milk that hits me in the balls, drops me to my fucking knees. I'm like, a milk dud. I mean, the kid hit me right in the nuts. And I'm like, oh. And so Steven Tyler has his bodyguard drag me through the curtain, because I'm right by the curtain now, because I'm backing up. I'm trying to get away. And so they go, how much we say we got? A couple grand. He goes, here it is. Come back tomorrow night. So I go, oh, fuck. Right. So I go back to the next night, and I go, fuck the Rolling Stones. Aerosmith the greatest. Yeah! It turned into like a rally. And they said, you want to go to Japan with us? I go, no.
So you had to figure a workaround.
Well, you learn. I think if you're a good comic, you learn from your mistakes. If you don't, you know, you're not gonna proceed. And I did. I had the pleasure of working with. I worked with who's Pretty Woman. Who sang
Richard Gere?
No, the guy who sang Pretty.
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison. Yeah, I think that's how bad my mind is. So I'm with Kenny. We're up for about 3 days. And I said, I got to go to Worcester. I'm opening for Roy Orbison. So I'm almost out of gas. I'm out of blow. I'm exhausted. I pull into this place, and I go up there, and there's this food bigger than this whole table, all this food. And I hadn't eaten in days, so I just start rapping. I'm like a bear. So now I fall asleep, right? and I get a guy push me back. I wake up, and he's all in black. He's got those glasses, and it's fucking Roy. He says, you the comedian? I said, yeah. He goes, they're bringing you on stage.
Oh, my God.
I'll be right back. So I go out, I do the show, and great show. I come back, Roy says, you're fantastic, man. Well, you want to go on tour with us? I got to get some.
I got to get some blow.
I leave. I drove from Worcester to Knicks. You know, the next day I go, man, Roy Orbison asked me to go on the road with him, you know. And I worked with Ray Charles, you know. I worked with Ray Charles. Oh, wow. Yeah, and he was so good to me. Oh, man. He goes, Lenny, you're the funniest comedian I've never seen. Then I went to Vegas. Oh, he was great. It was amazing. The only person I ever opened for that I really hated was Juice Newton. She was such a bitch to me, man.
Really?
Yeah, I was a young guy, you know, and I was doing like the Cape Cod Melody tent, you know. And
she was like a country star, right?
She had one song. She had one hit. I don't even know what it was.
Media?
Huh? Yeah, she was mean. Yeah. So my buddies showed up. My high school buddy. They climbed up and they took the Juice Newton off and they took the lettuce and put Lenny.
Oh, Jesus
She was
Christ.
pissed. Yeah, it didn't work out well. Yeah.
Was that what she was pissed about, or?
No, she was just pissed. I don't know. I mean, maybe she didn't want a comedian. Or, I don't know. I mean, I was excited about meeting her. She's a star. Juice Newton. Was it playing with the Game of Hearts or some shit? I don't know.
Yeah, she had one big hit.
hit.
I had a buddy of mine who was in love with her. He had a Juice Newton poster on his wall.
Yeah.
Every time I go over his house, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, tell him he wasted his time.
Well, it was a long time ago. I don't even know who that guy is anymore. I don't even remember his name. He was Mike. But you know who opens up for Metallica is Brewer.
Brewer, yeah.
Jim Brewer. Everywhere.
He tours with them.
Yeah, he tours with them. And apparently he's fucking sensational.
Oh, yeah. Well,
because he's a big Metallica fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he does a game show.
Yeah.
And
he's so good.
The
he
stuff
might
he
be one
does
of the
on
most
his
underrated
dad.
guys.
Brewer's
brilliant.
terrific. Yeah, he is.
He's brilliant.
He's great. I love
He's
Jim.
one of the most underrated guys ever.
Yep,
He really
I agree.
is. He's just he doesn't give a fuck.
No,
you know?
he doesn't.
He just wants to make a living, have a good time. He's not trying to get more famous than he already is. But if you get a chance to see Jim Brewer, holy shit.
Yeah, he took the wife and kids to Africa. He was telling me about the trip to Africa.
For Metallica?
No, I think they were there, but he flew the wife and kids over to go on a safari.
I was going to take my kids to Africa, but they were going to have to get malaria shots. I was like, I don't want to do that.
Well, you know what? I mean,
Too
not
little.
only that, but there's like
Lions?
AIDS. No, I don't mind the lions, and I don't care
Well,
for
I
the
don't think
snakes.
anybody's going to fuck my kids. So.
No, but wait. Let me finish. You got a mosquito with AIDS, it bites you. What
I
happens?
don't think that works.
You don't think that works?
I don't think it works that way.
Well, we got to find out.
Yeah, but that was what everybody was worried about a long
Well,
time
so
ago.
it's not just me.
But in the 80s, that was one of the big fears, was that mosquitoes are going to give, like one guy would have HIV, he would get a mosquito bite, and it would fly over to you, and they would give it to you. But
Well, then it comes from
actually
like a
work that
sick
way.
monkey in the tree, a tree monkey. Didn't they? Isn't that how the AIDS thing started?
They think there's a lot of confusion, but they think it was probably from a hunter who was hunting a monkey
And fucked the monkey.
No, didn't fuck the monkey. cut himself while he was cleaning the monkey, while he was gutting the monkey. Because this is a very common thing. It sounds disturbing, but what they call bush meat. And what bush meat is basically any kind of meat from any kind of thing that they shoot in the woods. And they would shoot monkeys.
Well, now, when I was
Chimps
a boy,
in
bush meat
particular.
was a whole different thing.
It's a different thing.
Yeah,
I was around back in those days. Back when there were bushes were real. You call a girl's, a bush, and people are like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, no one has a bush anymore.
No, gone.
That's porn. Porn changed the game. They changed. That's the biggest influence of pornography in American culture. Is not just that people watch it, but it changed the way people groom their pubic hairs.
Oh yeah, I grew mine. I shave
bet
all
you
mine off
do.
because it makes me feel younger. Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah.
Once they get gray, it's like this is just depressing.
Yeah, and then you start a little like, hey, a bit more. Hey, look, I'm a kid again.
Yeah, bush. But anyway, that's how AIDS, apparently, they think HIV spread from patient zero was a guy who cut himself while he was cleaning
Gutting
a
a
monkey.
monkey.
He was cutting up a monkey.
Yeah. Well, see, this is an informative show. I didn't know how that worked.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that, though.
Well, look, I was wrong about the mosquitoes. Don't be hard on yourself.
I just don't think that I don't think it's as transmittable as, like, say, malaria.
All right, well, say mosquitoes transmit malaria. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what's the difference between a good chunk of blood going into? You know what I mean?
I don't think it works the same way. I just think it's more difficult to transmit, which is one of the reasons why men typically don't get it from sex. They get it from needles. Women get it from sex because a guy comes inside of you, and that's how you get HIV. This is Medical Talk 101 on NPR. We appreciate your donations. Without your donations, we can't operate.
Send us some. We'll give you a nice hand back.
Yeah.
To keep your bush clippings in.
Is Sweeney still doing radio? Does he still do radio? I didn't
No,
ask him.
Well,
He's
he
not
does,
doing
He does
radio.
once a week, I think.
He does a little
but
internet
he's
thing.
not doing the
He
big
was on
channel.
ZLX for a couple of years.
Yeah, he was making some good money too.
Is there a radio in Boston anymore?
Yeah, well, there's
Do you
Kiss. There's still Kiss. And there's
Mark Parento was the pioneer, you
Yeah,
know, with the 505
sure. Yeah,
comedy hour.
yeah.
You know, that really helped boost comedy in the
God.
80s. You know, he was a big proponent.
Yeah.
he helped me an awful lot. I remember one night he came in and he said, you know, he's got to make the move. I'm like, hey man, hey, man,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to smack you around because you know this ain't gonna
Right.
work. He said, why don't you come on my show? I said, I don't know how to do radio. He said, look, you're the best comedian. I'm the best DJ to work. I tried it. We were selling out, you know, theaters. I mean, it was just incredible. Every time we'd go on a show, we'd promote it. It was incredible.
Yeah, he was huge.
And I really appreciated his help, you know. But
Is he still around?
No, he unfortunately passed.
I went to
a couple
see
of years
him.
ago.
Oh, did he?
I went to see him 2 weeks before he died. This is Mark's in the Mass General. So I went in, and he started laughing, and then he's nearly choking. I said, man, what's going on? And he says, oh, you know, it's not good, Lenny. I only got a couple of days. I said, is it AIDS? He said, no. I said, so I kissed him on the forehead. He goes, you asked me. I said, well, you know, man, I love you, but I got shit to do. I
can't be catching
I
AIDS.
thought it was from mosquitoes. I can't be taking a
What
shot.
did he get? What happened?
I don't know. You know, I don't know. But I guess a lot of things went bad, you know, and, you know.
Is Maddie in the Morning still around?
Oh, he's still
Yes.
huge.
Maddie
he's
is
still number one.
all-
Yeah.
That's
Huge.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
he
yeah.
was huge back when I was delivering newspapers.
Yeah.
Joe,
oh, yeah.
he's going to be on the air almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he had a TV show before the radio gig.
Wow.
Which
He's a
you
good guy.
Yeah, I did that show. Yeah, not
Always
a
a
bad guy.
good guy.
I
Yeah.
did that show. He crossed me once, and
He crossed you?
Yeah, and I flipped out. And I threatened to fight him, so I went on the sports channel and I said, I will drop 100 pounds and fight Matty Siegel for children's cancer. And then Barry and Elliot said, we'll put the chairs, we'll donate the chairs, we'll put lounge chairs in the
Jesus.
ring. And then someone donated the venue, and then it got really crazy. And then Matty said, listen, I'm sorry. You know, and we were doing an event that his mother passed away from, and I said, "Oh, how?" You know, I said, "All right, I'm sorry, I apologize." So we're back to being friends because we were friends a long time. But then, you know, I mean, sometimes people, you know what? One thing about you that I've always admired. See, because I liked you before I even knew you were a badass. I just thought you were nuts. I didn't know you were, you know, stone cold killer. But the point is, you have such a way, and other friends of mine that are just really, you know, dangerous people. Very, very calm. You know, even when people, you know, push you to the limit, you know, which is good. I wish I did that because, you know, I've been sued a few times, and you know, I've learned. Oh, yeah, I've learned to keep my hands to myself. You know?
got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always admire that. There was an NBA player that I wanted to come for the Celtics. Howard. I think he's with Charlotte now, and I'd see guys slam him, and he'd just turn and look. You know, and like Logan Mankins for the Patriots, people would smack him in the back, and he'd turn around and just give that look, and they'd back away. I always admired people that could control the madness. You know what I mean? Because I never did.
You don't want to let the genie out of the bottle.
No. Oh,
'Cause that's when, you know,
things can.
people die.
Yeah.
People go to jail.
Things can go.
You make horrible decisions when you're in a rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you got to be like, if something does happen, you got to be able to stay calm while it's happening. Then you see where the shots are. Because when people get frantic, and the adrenaline starts pumping, you start hyperventilating and freaking out. You don't see things. You can't see things that are happening. It's how people get hurt.
Oh yeah.
You know, you learn how to do that when in competition.
Right.
Competition, you can never freak out. You never can be emotional. If you're emotional, you lose all track of what's happening. You lose your breath. You get tired quick. You know, you get that big adrenaline dump.
I have much respect for people that, you know, like MMA and martial arts and all that. I remember in college, my freshman year of college, a buddy of mine who was a fighter, Jimmy Farrell, great fighter, Golden Gloves champ and everything. He said, Lenny, I think you could be a good fighter. So he took me to this gym in Springfield, and I fought this Nigerian. He was my Nigerian nightmare. He'd only been here like a week, right? And I was like 220. He was like 235, you know, and he couldn't even barely speak English. And we got in the ring, and for the first 30 seconds, I was awesome. But he hit me with a shot that put me airborne. I mean, I was out cold before I hit the mat, and I woke up, and he was staring down at me. Please don't get up, man. Please don't get up. I said, no problem. And I realized that wasn't going to work for me. You know, I mean, I've never lost a barroom fight, but probably out of fear and just, you know, the fight or flight. You know, I wanted both. They'd both kick in. Let's fight and get out of here as fast as we can.
It's always a bad idea. Like, but the thing about bar fights too is like you're not fighting one person. There's other dudes around you. You can't see them. There's people that hear about it on the phone. They come over. They're waiting for you when you come out. Oh yeah, hitting you with bottles.
Yeah. Well, weren't you a bouncer at Great Woods, Joe?
Yeah, in Mansfield. Yeah, yeah. I was one of the security people, and I quit during a Neil Young concert because Neil Young. Well, one of the things that we would do is we would catch people bringing in booze. Right. We'd always have to check people's bags when they were coming in. But the other thing that we do is we try to keep order in the lawn. You know how Great Woods has that lawn area?
Yeah.
Well, one day during a Neil Young concert, they started having bonfires in the lawn. So in the middle of the fucking concert, people are lighting fires, and we had to tell these people to put the fires out. And I remember I had a good friend. His name was Larry Jones. He was the whole staff of employees was like, there was a few guys. There was a guy named Alley Cat who ran the
I remember Alley Cat.
Sure.
He always wanted to open up a place called Libations, Alley Cat's Libations and Victuals. I've always remembered that. He wanted to open up a bar. That was his dream.
Yeah, I remember him.
The first time I met Alley Cat, some guy had stolen one of the golf carts. They had a security golf cart. Some drunk kid stole the golf cart, and they beat the fuck out of him with walkie-talkies. I'll never forget that. I was like, Jesus, these guys aren't playing. And, you know, I might have been getting like $20 an hour. I don't remember what the fuck it was. But I remember thinking, Jesus, I don't want to get in actual fights here. Because I was competing at the time, too. I was 19 years old, so that was when I won the U.S. Open, and I was in the height of my competition days. And this fight broke out on this lawn, and they were all Taekwondo black belts, all like either national champions or state champions. There's like 5 or 6 of us out there. And my friend Larry, who's like the nicest guy in the world, he was in some sort of a altercation with this guy, and I see him slam this guy in the stomach and drop him. I'm like, fuck, if Larry's punching people, this is bad. So I'd always brought a hoodie with me because I was a coward. And as soon as the fights break out, I would put a hoodie on over my security jacket and zip it up, and I'm like, fuck you. I'm not fighting for $20 an hour. You're out of your fucking mind. So I put my hoodie on and I quit. I walked right out the fucking door with everybody else, and I didn't collect my check that week. I was like, you can keep it. I'm not dying.
No.
It was brawls were breaking out. People were kicking people's asses and hitting people with shit, and there was fire everywhere. And my preservation instinct kicked in. I was like, there's no fucking way. No way I'm getting involved in this. That was my last day on the job.
Did you ever work there? I mean, perform there?
Yeah, no, I never performed there. But I got to see a lot of guys. I got to see Cosby perform there. Right. I saw Kinnison
there.
I saw Rodney. This was in the Rodney bathrobe days.
Oh, yeah.
So Rodney was backstage, and one of the guys who I worked with saw his hog.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, he would be fucking full naked underneath this bathrobe, and he had a giant dick, and his dick was hanging out.
I spent hours with Rodney. We shot this movie out here.
Meet Wally
Sparks. And he said, come on, kid, let's go get high. So we're in this trailer. We're smoking up. And he starts taking his clothes up. He takes the robe off. And now he's sitting there with just his dick. And I go, oh, Jesus, come on. He goes, what, you never seen a man's dick before? I go, well, not really.
So relaxed.
I go, well, put something over. So he gets a faith cloth. Hey, you happy now? I go, yeah. So he says, listen. He goes, I want you to be careful with this dope. This dope's really... I said, Rodney, I've been smoking 30 years. I'm fine. He goes, I'm telling you, they bring this shit. Indians bring this in canoes. This shit's really great, man. So I leave the set, and I'm out past Calabasas, way, and I live in the marina. And I go, where the fuck am I? The next day I show up. He goes, how'd you do? I got lost. He goes, I tried to tell you.
Well, back then they had, like, California weed today is preposterous. I mean, it's so strong that some people are having psychotic breaks, and people are having breakdowns and losing their mind and going into mental institutions.
It's like 40 times stronger than what we used to. And I smoked every day. I used to smoke and work out. I'd smoke. I'd ride the bike. I'd smoke. I'd swim. I loved to smoke. I thought it was more creative when I was smoking. You know, it's just like Collins O'Leary. He goes, oh man, I got writer's block. Oh, I'm okay. But it was just, I mean, yeah. Now they tell me now it's legal. When I did it, you had to hide it. You had to worry about it. Now it's everyone.
Well, what's interesting is my wife's friends openly smoke pot now. Like, whereas like when I was younger, Like if people found out you smoked pot, they would look at you like you're some sort of derelict, like you were doing
You're
heroin.
a stoner.
Yeah, like you were a loser. Like even if you were successful, even if you were working every day, even if you showed up on time, if you were a pot smoker, you were some sort of a loser.
Robert Mitchum, that was his big downfall. He smoked up. And
Robert Mitchum?
Robert Mitchum.
Really?
Yes. And
That
I
guy?
met him. I met him before he died. Oh, yeah.
His downfall was
Well,
pot?
there was a period where, like, oh, he's a dope smoker.
Oh, a dope
Because
smoker.
people said to me, don't smoke dope. It's a gateway drug. I go, you don't know what you're talking about. Once again, I was wrong.
Well, everything's a gateway drug if you really want it to be. You know? But Rodney, those days of the bathrobe days were his best days. It's the full-on I don't give a fuck days. He didn't give a fuck. He was just free.
Rodney gave Lenny one of his first big national breaks on the HBO special. And who was on your special with you, Lenny?
Schimmel, Hicks, Dice, Dom
Irrera.
Carol Leifer,
Barry Sobel.
Barry Sobel.
To this day, one of the best specials ever.
Yeah.
It was nuts, you know, because we were out here and Rodney was auditioning everybody for it. And Mike said, go ask him. So I said, hey, Rodney, I said, you take a look at him. He said, kid, I've seen people with three. No. And he walked away and he turned and said, hey, if you could be in New York next week, I'll take a look at you. And Mike said, we'll be there. So we flew back to Boston. We took the train down, and Mike says, you have any idea what you're going to do? I go, nah. So I go into the bar, and there's Bill Hicks sitting at the bar. And I said, hey, man, nice to meet you. I said, you know what? I guess it's me and you up for the best spot, last spot. I said, may the best man win. We'll have a drink afterwards. He goes, I'm drinking now. And I goes, wrong fucking answer. I went out. I punched the fucking phone booth. This is long ago. I was so pissed. And Rodney goes, who wants to go first? I do. So I went on and I fucking burnt it down. Rodney goes, Jesus Christ! Now you're on the show. Now I said, it's not my problem. but I made that
And
show.
Rodney's in the bathrobe, of course. You know.
And so we got to be good friends. One night we left there and we went up to the Tavern on the Green, okay? And he's in the robe. He's in the bathrobe. We're doing blow, we're drinking, smoking. And we get up, we go up. The doorman goes, oh, not tonight, Rodney. We got some nice people in here. He goes, fuck you, nice people. I got you the job, you cocksucker. I'll fucking call you. Come on, fuck you. Come on.
So you saw Hicks when he was in his drinking stage still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I only saw him after drinking. I saw him post-drinking.
Yeah.
I saw him at Nick's. Well, the first time I saw him at the Connection.
Right.
I saw him at Nick's and I saw him at the Connection. Those are the two places.
Yeah. I mean, we became friends after that, but I mean, that was I was trying to be a good guy, Sometimes it's the competitive juices or pre-cum. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it comes out.
That was one of the things that comics of today talk about is how it is a different thing in the community now. Like the comics community is very supportive. There's no competitiveness anymore.
Right.
It's not the same because it's not like everybody's up for a limited amount of slots on like an HBO Young Comedian special
or Carson.
Yeah. There's none of that. In fact, everybody helps everybody because everybody does everybody's podcast. Everybody supports everybody. We work together on the road together. It's a different vibe.
Oh yeah.
When I was coming up, it was like that. It was all cut and
it was
cat and dog.
through. Yeah. Oh, it was,
and everybody wanted everybody to bomb after him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always felt, I said, look, if one of us makes it, we kick the door down for everyone else.
Yeah.
But people were making it ahead of me, and they were slamming that door shut. I'm going, hey,
Yeah.
that's me. Open up. Remember, you better sleep with one eye open, you fuckers. I'm not going away. And that's why I had to go from L.A. I'd come out here and I'd make no money.
Yeah.
And Mitzi would go, you'd be funny if you wore a red tie. I'd go, okay, I'll get a red tie. Oh, that's so much better. And Mitzi was great to me. I mean, she when I broke through.
That's her right there.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I love Mitzi.
That's
She said to me, you're like Leno. Joke. I go, isn't that what it's supposed to be? And
What did she think it should be?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't. But she said, you're not going to go away. I said, no, I'm not going to. Okay, you're a regular. I said, what's that mean? They get like $25 now. I go, that would pay for my parking, So I flew back and forth from Boston, and they'd have me working everywhere, and I'd make enough money to live out here. And I did every weekend for 18 months.
But it was so smart that you did that because you were one of the few guys that left Boston.
Right.
All these brilliant comedians like Rogerson and Sweeney and Gavin and Donovan and all these guys.
Yeah. Tony
Knox,
V.
Tony V. Yeah.
There were guys that, if they went to Boston and got on stage, they'd go, who of these guys. They're
Yeah.
unbelievable. They burn the room down
They
every
would
single
destroy.
time. Yeah.
I saw during the 80s and the early 90s, I saw some of the best stand-up I ever saw in my life where guys would murder. It's hard to explain it to people.
You had to. You had to. Or you couldn't look the guys in the face. Because
Yeah.
Rogers would go, wow, you really sucked tonight.
Dude, everyone was ruthless.
Yeah.
They were ruthless. But the level of comedy was so high.
Yeah, like on a Saturday night, you could see Lenny, Sweeney, Gavin, Steve Wright, all on the same show.
Yeah,
You know?
and it was crazy. And then they would occasionally at Nick's. Nick's was the biggest culprit in this, where they would bring in some national guy.
Skippy.
Yeah,
They brought in Skippy
terrible
from Family
guy
Ties.
who would sell some tickets,
Right.
but then they would set him up.
And they'd have to follow these guys.
They would follow a fucking assassin group. I mean, it was crazy. It was a murderer's row of some of the best comics ever.
I remember Richard Lewis came, and I love Richard Lewis, and I think he's a great comic. But he came in, and Gav goes, "Hey, man, have you seen this Richard Lewis?" I said, "No." He goes, "Watch this special." So I watched him, and I go, "Yeah, it's going to be cannon fodder." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Listen, I'm telling you, it's a lot different from filming and being on stage at Nick's." So he came in, it was me, Sweeney, and Gavin, and him. And so we go on and we burn it down, and he goes on, and then he goes back to the Hotel 57 and turns on Channel 4 and sees Joyce Cohay work, butchering him in a review. And he comes back and he goes, "I can't believe this is happening." I go, "Hey, man, listen, you're a great guy. Open." I said, "We'll take care of it." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, don't blow. I'm throwing shit out the windows." He goes, "You guys are insane." And 6 months later, I do my first movie, The Wrong Guys, with him. And he says, "I never forget what you did in Boston for me." He was so nice to me, and I was a wreck because I didn't do movies.
Well, it's a terrible position for a comic like him to be because he wasn't that kind of comic.
Right.
He was like a guy who would pontificate, and he had these long pauses.
And stories.
Yeah, stories.
And funny. But
Yeah.
these people we don't want fun. We joke. Make us laugh.
Go. Yeah, it had to be set up right. Like
Yeah.
if he had a low key opener, he would be fine.
Right. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I bet he got most of the time on the road.
And not crazy, filthy guys.
No.
Shut up, Sully. Fuck you. I'll come down here and fucking stab you. Oh, I'm not going. I'm sorry, son.
Well, it was a very unusual group of guys in Boston too, because they were all giant dudes. Like between you and Gavin and Sweeney and Knox, they're big men. Like these are big, intimidating men who are doing stand up.
Do you remember the doorman Billy?
Sure.
Big fuck. He nearly killed me one night, right?
The doorman at Nick's.
Yeah. So these kids come in and go, "Hey, man." He goes, "We're sold out." He gets $200. He goes, "Come with me." He walks down to the front row, takes 4 kids from Charlestown. "Screw, get out," and puts those guys down here. "Come back next week." I mean, that's how it was.
It was crazy there.
It was insane.
You had to keep your head down. When you're a young comic, like keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and don't get on anybody's bad side.
They told I was doing the Connection, and upstairs was a show with, I don't know, transvestites. People dressed up guys dressed up like women before there was titles.
It was like a drag queen show.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I go, and there was no heat. And all the heat was in the middle room at the Connection. I go, "Look at these poor bastards going up there to see some cocksucker singing, dancing, and dress, freezing their ass off," right? Halftime, break before the next show. And Billy comes storming in the back room at the Connection. He goes, "Who's Lenny Clarke?" And Steve Wright goes, "I am." He looks at Wright like, what am I going to do with this? I go, "I am." He goes, "Come with me." And they take me down to Nick's, and they take me down to Sully. I go, "You know that fucking show you're making? That bag show you made fun of? We're producing that. You ever say that again, they'll find you dead in the fucking river. Do you understand?" Whoa. "Yes, I do." and they let me go. Oh, but so then I had to go do another show.
No, they were stone cold killers.
Yeah.
He was friends with my buddy Joe Lake, who was my boxing coach. And I brought Joe Lake to the show one night, and they were buddies together. And Joe Lake was a savage. And I'm like, he's friends with this guy. These are a group of fucking animals.
He's in jail.
Billy is?
Yeah.
He was.
What did he
Sorry.
do? Sorry, Billy.
Maybe he doesn't have a radio. Maybe he doesn't have TV.
I'm sure he was innocent. Whatever happened, he probably had a bad attorney. Yeah, it was a bunch of animals then. And people were literally getting paid in coke.
Oh, yeah. My first gig down in Florida, I did a place in Sarasota, and it was a great weekend. The guy goes, "All right, Lenny, so it's the end of the week, $2,000. He goes, "How do you want it? You want it in cash or coke?" And I went, how about half and half? So they gave me half and Coke. Yeah, it was nuts. Then I got whacked out and went to Tampa to see Jackie the Joke Man because I had met him. And he goes, "How did you get here?" I go, "I really don't know." It was like the time. I was so fucked up back then. It was like time travel. You know, you could give me blow and booze in a car, and I could end up from Sarasota to Tampa. You look at that on a map. That's not an easy gig. That's not an easy trip.
No.
And I would just show up. And there was no GPS. And I was like a fucking homing pigeon, you know. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" I goes, "I got blow. Come on in." Yeah.
And you just figured out how to get there.
Oh, God, Christ.
I remember we used to call when you get a gig back in the day, and then some of them would be in New Hampshire in some weird fucking lodge. You would
I had the lodge in Salem, New Hampshire. Ironically.
So I'm doing a lodge one night, and there's strippers, male strippers. A kid I went to high school with, it's a male stripper, right? And they're doing, and I said, I'm emceeing, you know, and I got to do comedy in between. So I go, "Kathy, is there Kathy O'Malley here? Your kid fell down and hurt his head. Fuck you! Show us your car." At the lodge. You know, man, it's bad.
Well, you get the directions. You'd have to write them down on a legal pad.
Yeah, right.
Just write down. Take a right at the fork, you know, and then you go 2 miles to this road. And
Yeah, right. It's in Salem. You'll find it. That's what they say.
so small. Ask when you get there.
One night he had me work in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. 3 gigs. And I go,
In a
"Mike,
night?
that's a lot of fucking driving." He says, "You can do it. Don't worry about it." And I mean, I know how I did it without, you know, getting killed or killing someone. It was crazy.
Rhode Island was always fun.
And then when Kennison, when I first met Kennison out at the store, I said, "Oh my God!" It was like a revelation. I'd never seen anything, and I've seen everybody, you know.
Right.
And I said, "This is." So I call him and I go, "You got to see this fucking guy. He's nuts, man. It's unbelievable. He's like this preacher who does comedy. That's insane." And so we bring him to Boston, and
Nick's is the first stop.
fired.
I had to fire him after the first show.
Why?
He showed up all fucked up, and you know I got him some blow, and he went on stage, and he was doing like new material.
Yeah.
And I said, "Sam, is there any way you could do your HBO?" He goes, "No, bro, that's been done.
That's been done."
And I go, "Well, I got to let you go." He goes, "I figured that." Well, yeah. Then I got him a gig at the Connection. Then he got fired from there.
Then you had him a place in Malden. He got fired. Then he shows up at Stitches at my gig, and he comes walking in, and I go, "Oh, Sam, man, I can't lose this gig. This is my big money gig." And he goes, "Do you trust me? Do you trust the beast? Do you trust the beast? Bring me on." So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, you saw him on the HBO, Saturday Night Live. He's one of the best I've ever seen. Sam, he comes stumbling out with half a bottle of Moet. Chugs it down, burps, and says, "Someone's fucking me tonight." And from then on, he
found a
burnt
home.
the room down. And by the end of the night, they had hired him to come back to do the back room at the Paradise. And it was off and running. But, oh, my God.
This is like 86?
Yeah.
Right after his special.
You know what we did? So we're in New York, and we're doing Caroline's, right? And, I mean, everybody comes out to see the show. It's unbelievable. And they're going to do... Rolling Stone. He's on the cover of Rolling Stone, and he's supposed to do the Today Show. You know what I mean? So he flies in every girl that's ever broke up with him and puts them all up in the same hotel in different floors. I go, "That's fucking genius." He goes, "Do you miss Daddy? Do you miss Daddy?" And he's Money Everett. It was fucking crazy. So I never told this story to more than a small group of people, but we're in the room, and I'm lying on this side of the bed. His brother's Bill here. His mom's there. Sam's passed out in the chair. We've been going for days. And Sam's mother goes, "Lenny, you got to get Sam up. He's got to do a Today Show." And I go, "Today Show? That's huge, man. We can't blow this up." And he was just at the point where he didn't care anymore. I'm not doing it. So I said, Sam, get up. You got to do this. Your mother wants you to do it. This is big. It's great for your career." And we turn on the TV, and he's putting on his Lenny. He's putting on his coat, and this Challenger takes off, and we watch it. Explodes. He goes, "I willed this. I fucking willed this. Now everyone back to bed." And takes his jacket off, and his mother's just going, "Oh, Lenny," and the phone rings. "This is Today's Show. We won't be using Sam today."
Oh my God!
Don't ever
I
fucking
willed
will.
it.
I
willed it because he didn't want to go on the Today Show.
So
that's
hilarious. So later he goes, that was a horrible thing to happen, to lose all those astronauts. But, I guess she was a teacher, I forget her name. And he goes, and the kids were in the classroom, and they're all watching. Oh, anyone want some cookie? This cake. Oh, man. And right after that. But he was fearless.
Yeah, he was. I don't know if you know the story about him, but his brother Bill wrote that book, Brother Sam.
Yeah.
And he talked about how Sam got hit by a car when he was a little kid. He was a normal kid, and he gets this horrible head injury, and then all of a sudden was fearless. Like that happened to Roseanne, and that happened to him. Wow. Same exact story. Hit by a car.
I didn't know that.
One personality changes 100%, becomes a totally different personality, and becomes this wild, reckless person. Happened to both of them.
Listen, all these documentaries about him and stuff, and I see people that were on the peripheral edges. I was with him for a few years. We're bringing him to Boston. We brought him to Boston when he wasn't making a lot of money, and Mike paid him, and he loved it, and we became real good friends. And it was just a time in life that I never saw anything like that. And when he'd break into the preacher thing with his little feet dancing, and so one night we're up. He started missing gigs, and he missed the University of Arizona, and his manager goes, and he had a big time manager. They had just got him, the cover, Rolling Stone, all that stuff. And he goes, Lenny, you got to get him to the show tomorrow. You're opening for him. I said, okay. So Sam goes, come on, we'll go back to the place, and we're doing massive amounts of blowing shit. And I'm going up to go to the bathroom. He never gets up to go to the bathroom. It was just, Smash Cut, we're in Tampa, and we're doing a show. It was the year that Tampa lost every game, the professional football team, and they came in some big offensive linemen, biggest guys I've ever seen. Can we meet Sam? Yeah, Sam, these guys want to meet you. And one of them breaks out a little blow, and Sam goes, blows away, and he goes, whoa! And Sam takes out a bag, puts it down. Not doing the rest, you pussies, and walks out. And they look at him like, yeah, he's not human. So we go back to his place, and now it's 3 in the morning. It's 4 in the morning. We're supposed to take a 7 o'clock flight. And he said, yeah, we're not going to make that flight. It's 8 o'clock flight. It's only an hour out of, L.A. to Arizona there, right? So 10 o'clock, the manager shows up. And Lenny goes, hey, man, this is not good. This is a makeup show. You didn't show for this. A makeup show. It's sold out. He goes, take Lenny with you, and I'll follow on. So we're in the plane, and he says, how much time you got, Lenny? I said, well, how much you need? He goes, well, until he gets here. So I go on. I'm supposed to do 20. I'm at about 54. And I'm going, man, I'm running out. And I'm holding him off. He goes, Sam. And I'm holding him off. And I look over, and he's on an oxygen tank with a mask. He goes, and it's the big coat. He goes, bring me on. The dead live. Bring me on. So I bring him on, and the place goes crazy. And afterwards, we go to some strip club, right? And so we're in there. Everyone's wild, man. He's a big star. People can't believe it. So we're sitting, all the strippers come over, and he's throwing money around. And someone throws a can of beer. And he goes, that's it. He goes, you girls want to make more money in a night than you make in a month? Come with me. And we go, about 8 of them come, and we get in a limo, and we go back to the hotel. And we're up to the hotel, we're doing lines of drinking and everything. And he goes, Lenny, I know you're married. He goes, but in about 5 minutes, things are going to change. He goes, you might want to go. He says, because once you open this door, you'll never be able to close it again. And I thought, all right, brother, okay. And so I left, and I went back to my room, got an extra cookie from the DoubleTree, went up in my room. So the next morning, I get up, and I go over to the room, and I open it up, and it's fucking destroyed, and there's blood everywhere, and there's people sitting around crying. They're fucking crying. I'm going, where's Sam? Oh, it was horrible. I'm going, where's Sam? I don't know. And I'm, fuck this. So I get a cab, I go to the airport, and I fly back. And to this day, I never know what happened. There was one guy, Magic. I mean, if you ever listen to this, Magic, find me, because I want to know what. But it looked like a bomb when our shit was broken. All of it. I mean, like a trashed place, but like dangerously trashed, and blood, and still blow left, and oh, it was. I don't know what happened that night.
Mark Maron was hanging out with him back in the day when Mark was a doorman at the comedy
At the
store.
store.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he was a young kid.
Yeah.
He did so much coke with Kinnison that he heard voices for a year. His head was broken. He heard voices in his head for a fucking year, and that's when he sobered up. He came to Boston right after that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's when I met him.
Yep.
I met Marin in '88 when he had just was trying to get his brain back online.
Right.
Yeah.
He was fried. They cooked his brain. They were just up for days.
Oh,
Not many people could run with Sam.
all right, so we're in Boston, and I think we do Stitches, and we close. I said, come on, we'll go over to Lansdowne Street, because a buddy of ours was running that. So now we're drinking bottles of champagne like it's going on. He goes, that's it, man. It's enough. We got to go. So we leave, and Sam goes, where are we going now? And I go, I don't know, man. There's no bars open. It's after 2. He goes, you got to know a place. I go, most of the places I know, they're folded up. They've been shut down. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, the limo we had the other night had booze in it. He goes, yeah, call a limo. So they call a limo. It comes fully stocked. What about? He goes, never underestimate my power. And we've been drinking it. I said, what a brilliant. How does shit happen to him? You know, it was insane. Just not human.
He's a wild motherfucker, that's for sure. He changed comedy. He really did. He changed what comedy was. It became something, like, before him, it was people telling jokes, but he was so outrageous. And when he did that HBO special, that one that he did from the Roxy on Sunset,
I was there, yeah.
that fucking special changed comedy. Like, it changed people's idea. Like, when he did that joke about the homosexual necrophiliacs having sex with
laying
the
down on
funerals,
the stage.
I'm on my way to heaven. Wait, he's fucking me in the ass. It never ends. So I'm at the store one night. I go in, and the cops left Sam. And there was like about 7 squad cars out in front of the Comedy Store. I'm going, oh, Sam. You go, and they're all lined the steps and wall. They're all watching him, and he's bombing. You know, I mean, he goes, yeah, you people don't seem to like me. I want you to do me a favor. You know, when you go home tonight, I want you to take a piece of paper, a napkin, something, anything you find, and I want you to write on it someone in your life that's passed, you know, a brother, a sister, a mother, the sacred dead. I want you to take that home. And I want you to get home, and I want you to wipe your fucking ass. Fucking chairs started flying. It was so fucking fun. And everywhere we went, he would leave like 20 or 30 tickets for the cops in that town, wherever we were. You know?
Really?
Yeah. No, the cops would always show up.
Oh, that's awesome.
So one night, we're up at Mitzi's, and he's up there jamming with Eric Clapton, Phil Collins. I forget who the other guy was. And they're on the board, and he's got the guitars, and we're rocking it out, right? And I'm going, I can't play, but I'm going, this is insane. And so the cops come, and he goes, Lenny, take care of it. So I go up, and there's like 3, 4 cars, the lights going. I go, what's on? I say, hey, you got to cut it down. I said, oh, man, you're not going to believe it. Eric Clapton's down there with Phil Collins, and they jam with Sam. And he goes, Sam, can we meet Sam? So I go down, I go, Sam, the cop said it's okay, but you got to come up and take a picture with him. And he, you fuck, I said, Sam, it's either that or they're closing it down. So he goes up, and they have Polaroids. That's when they had the Polaroid cameras out, and they took, I had me taking the Polaroids of Sam and the cops. It was, I'd love to see those pictures. But it was, you never knew who was going to come over there. You never knew who was going to come over there. It was just incredible.
He's the example that I always give to comics of a guy who was at one point in time one of the best ever.
Oh, yeah.
But then dropped off hard. Like, he dropped off in a big way. He just stopped writing, too much partying. His brother talked about it in the book. Mm-hmm. He just, it's what can happen. Like, you can't, you got to respect this fucking thing. And he was just all about the ride. And then also he became very, very famous, probably too famous.
Right.
You know?
Well, we were doing the Outlaws of Comedy at the Dunes. That's how long ago. The Dunes is there now. And he had driven out with Tamayo Asuki. And I get a call early in the morning. Lenny, come quick, Sam dead. I go, what? So I go over to the Caesar's Palace. They had a big, and I can't wait. I take the champagne thing, take it out, pour water on, and Tamayo pushes me out of the way, and she goes, welcome to Japan, Mr. Bond. Sam would have her say that every morning.
You would ever say that every morning?
So, Tamayo, I mean, she was so funny, man. You know, she was. I really enjoyed her, and she was sweet. I worked with her. Used to work with her at the store a lot. You know, I don't know if she's Is she still doing comedy?
I don't know. I haven't seen her ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
She did this. She came up. You know, in your country, you say, I walk miles to school in the snow. In my country, you drop atomic bomb on us. Crazy shit. Yeah, funny stuff, man. But he was, first time I ever did ecstasy was, they were closing the club that he started at in Austin, Texas. He goes, we're all going.
Laugh Stop.
Yeah, we're all going. So he drove. I think he drove. I flew down. I met him, and someone comes in and says, "Hey man, you got to try this." He goes, "What is ecstasy?" He goes, "Yeah man, give me all you got." How much is that? Like $10. Give me all you got. So we're all on ecstasy. I never did ecstasy, and we're sitting on a couch and we're drinking, we're doing blow, and he starts to float away. Right. So I mean, this is how. So I reach over and I bring him down. And someone goes, "What the fuck? You queer touching Sam?" I on the show, and Sam goes, "Thank you, Lenny. Thank you for bringing me back." Crazy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I was in my shitty apartment in New Rochelle, New York, when I was listening to MTV News, and they told me that, you know, on the television, they told us that he died.
Oh, they called me and said, "Lenny, Sam's dead." And I said, "Have you seen the body?" You know, because I couldn't believe it.
Killed by a 19-year-old drunk driver.
Who was a fan of his. You know? I mean, I'd seen so much and did so much with him. I didn't think he was capable of dying. You know. Oh, when he's doing back to school, he says, "Come on, we'll go to the set." We go and see Rodney. He's in the robe. He goes, "Hey, Rodney, how you doing?" He said, "What's up, kids? You want to be in the picture?" And I said, "Well, listen, Rodney." I said, "I appreciate it, but would you put my wife in the picture instead of me?" He goes, "You're going to put your broad in the picture instead of you?" I said, "I've been on the road with Sam for the last month." He goes, "No problem. Bitches in the picture." So we put my first wife in back to school. She's got a nice prominent role in it, man.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, right?
God damn. How the fuck did you come out of all that so healthy? Like, you look great.
Thank you.
You really do.
Well, you got my dream gym out there, brother. That's fantastic. But, you know, it's funny because I listen to you about, you know, your workouts, like the hanging thing, where you just hang. You know, people doing pull-ups and stuff. Just hang.
It's great for your shoulders.
It's great. It's great for everything.
Your
Like
back,
30 seconds, get to a minute, and stuff like that. And when I forget, I was doing a TV show, and I saw myself, I was 388 pounds, with a 56-inch waist. And I had always been, you know me, when I first started, I was a thin kid and everything. And I was the only guy I know who did coke and had an eating disorder. You know? I mean, I would do a line and have a steak. It was something about it. Coke affected me really different than most people. So I had the heart problems, I had all that stuff. I started to get better, and then once I get sober, I turned even more to food. I got bigger and bigger and bigger. And one day I just said, I'm going to stop. And then I went to Weight Watchers, you know, and I lost like 100 pounds with them. And I thought I was going to be the spokesman. And they ended up giving the job to Charles Barkley. And then he was talking about fat bitches in San Antonio. I'm going, this is what you think. I mean, I love Charles Barkley, but I was the guy. I mean, and he put the weight. I lost 100 pounds with them. And I was and then Oprah took over. And I thought, I'm definitely, because I did Oprah. I mean, I didn't fuck her. I did her show. And I thought that she would like me, you know, and that never happened. So I started working out on my own. I started riding a bike, and I started swimming. And I started lifting weights because I never lifted in high school. I was always rail thin. I was like 178 pounds in high school. And then I get into doing sit-ups and abs and crunches. And then, well, remember when I met you on, what was the movie? Here Comes the Boom. You said, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
And and the lifting was for my brain. You know, I mean, I'd go to the gym, and it was good for my head, you know, and I really because, I mean, I wasn't doing it to look good. I was doing it to save my life. And then I started like how I look, and I started working at it. And it's part of my thing now. And I'm 65 years old. Kids in the gym see me, how old are you? I'm 82. You got a six-pack, man. I go, yeah, you can have it too. Just, you know, eat right.
But it's just amazing that you went from wild partying, constant just drugs and booze and partying to 100% healthy.
Yeah.
Lifting weights.
Yeah.
Running,
He wouldn't be
exercise.
here if he hadn't stopped.
But
Joe.
it's a hard trend. That's a hard turn. It's a big right angle.
Yeah.
Like, what, like?
Well, the kid, Phil Barano, that I told you, the bank robber kid was my sponsor. He said, listen, you can get this together. You can change your life. You can, you know, the sky's the limit. And he wouldn't leave me alone. He'd come to us, where we go? We're going to a meeting. I went to one yesterday. He goes, you need another one. Can't stay clean on yesterday's shower. They drove me crazy.
Can't stay clean on
yesterday's shower. How about that? So, and he was all over me. And I started to get spiritual, you know. And
did you ever slip?
No.
That's amazing.
No. Because I'm deathly afraid, and I'm not a preacher. You know, I don't talk about it. You know, I mean, I'm talking about now because you asked me, but you know, and I don't judge anybody. You know, if I'll drive. You want to get? I'll drive. You know, but people say if you break out, will you come to my house? You know? I mean, I was insane, and I didn't even mean to be. I didn't know. You know, I mean, and now a lot of this stuff's like you were saying earlier. You know, pod's 20 times, 40 times stronger. I'm going, really?
But, do you miss any of it?
Oh, I miss it all. I miss it all. But, you know, I can't go. I know how bad I was, you know, and I mean, I lost. I lost a lot, you know. I mean, I'm still working, you know what I mean? And, you know, I mean, it's something I don't want to go back to. I did it, you know. I mean, I used to go to Playboy Mansion. I was at Playboy Mansion all the time. You know, I was there at the height when Hef had 7 girlfriends. You know, he came up there having a good time. Lenny, he knows my name. You know, it was great. And then this old woman was putting a coat on, and I went over and I helped her with a coat. She said, "Aren't you nice?" I said, "What's your name?" His name's Lenny. She said, "My son was named Lenny." Really? I said, "What do you do?" "I'm a comedian." "My son was a comedian." I go, "You're not Sally Ma." She goes, "Yes." Wow. And Sally Ma and me became best of friends.
That's Lenny Bruce's mom.
Lenny Bruce's mom, yeah. And she'd say, "Come get me." And you know, Joe, horrible story. We would get together twice a week. You know, I mean, I'm with Sally Ma. I came, and she, you know, Lenny would steal a lot of my fucking material. I'd go to a club in Canada and says, "Hey man, there was a guy in here that does all your material. Is his name Lenny? He's my fucking son, that thief and prick." You know, she was really funny.
She was a comic?
She was oh yeah, Joan Rivers was doing a movie of her life. Sally Ma, you know, I never saw it, but you know,
I had no idea.
Yeah,
her son would steal her act.
Yeah, right, yeah. She was at 83. She was raped by some crazy Mexican who broke into her house and she goes, "I'm 83. I'm a small fat little Jew, and this guy's fucking me." And I'm going, "That's your dick. That's all you got." You know. And she says, he started beating me. I go, "No, you cocksucker. You don't have enough of a cock. You gotta beat me. I'm an old woman." And she went, "Oh, it was all fucking big." I had to go visit her in the hospital. I mean, it was horrible, you know. I mean, this shit happened, you know.
I remember Sam had her open up his special.
Yeah. And we did the thing to raise money for her too, you know, because I mean,
one of his specials. She came out with him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I introduced Sam to her because I had met her at you know, she was an old woman at the Playboy Mansion. She was the only old woman, and Hef loved her. And we'd go up there unannounced, and we'd sit down, we'd, you know, eat, and then I drove her everywhere, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, have you seen that new TV show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
No, everyone tells me it's a great show.
It's a great fucking show. I mean, it's not historically accurate, like the way they talk. It's like they're doing kind of modern stand-up, but they're doing modern stand-up back in those days. And the woman didn't exist. Like, there was no woman like Mrs. Maisel, historically. Right. Like, it took a long time before... I mean, she was more rowdy than Lenny Bruce was in the television show. But it shows you what it was like back when people were just getting arrested for saying things. Right. And it makes you realize, like, Lenny Bruce, that fucking guy paid. He paid the price, and we're all benefiting from him.
Well, you know, when I first started, there was one book, The Last Laugh. That was all there was about comedy. It was no movies, no documentaries, anything. And I wanted to know as much as I could about all the guys who came before me. You know, because I remember I saw Alan King do stand-up one night on TV, and I went, "Oh my," it was unbelievable. I said, "Gee, he's fantastic." Then I saw him as an actor, and I went, "He's amazing." And I got to work with Red Buttons. You know, I mean, he wasn't a comedian, but he was really funny. You know, and I mean, the people that that came before me, I knew every single one of them. I'd studied them anyway. And this was before YouTube and stuff. I'd just read whatever I could find on them. And I would tell these young kids coming up, I go, you ought to look at the guys who came before you. And they're not interested at all, you know. When I saw Gleason, Gleason was what I wanted to be. I just thought Jackie Gleason was just amazing, you know, and I said, I want to be like that guy, you know, because he was incredible. And people didn't realize he was a stand-up, you know.
I didn't know Gleason did stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
One night, 2-ton Tony Galenta was giving him shit. And
the boxer.
And Gleason heckled him, and Tony knocked him out.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He was incredible, you know, because I met Art Carney.
You know, Jackie Gleason was obsessed with UFOs. Did you know that?
Nah, but I kind of dig it too, man.
There's a story. This guy told it to me. Some guy was a rock band dude. He told me the story, and I don't know if it's true. But the story was that Gleason was friends with Nixon, and Nixon said, "You want to see some shit?" And Nixon took him to
Area 51.
I don't think it was Area 51. I think it was Hangar 18, which is at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and I think it was outside of Columbus, Ohio, and they supposedly had some fucking crashed UFO there. And Gleason built a replica of it, or had a replica of it built in his fucking backyard in New York.
Wow.
They went to the Homestead Air Force Base outside of Miami, it says.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I got a bullshit version of it. Pull up the actual version. Where are you getting this from?
I just Googled it. I mean, it's a rumored story, so I don't know if it's...
Yeah, that's how I got it. I got it from a guy in a band. It might be bullshit, but he gave me some book on UFOs. And he was telling me about this, but that Jackie Gleason apparently was obsessed with UFOs.
Well, I believe there's got to be something out there.
Yeah.
You know, we're it. I mean, that's it.
No,
right?
I don't believe we're it.
I did a lot of USO shows, and I've been around the world, and I was every time I was in off the coast of Turkey someplace, and the commander of the base took me out for dinner afterwards, and I got him drunk. I got him pretty drunk. I was sober at the time. I got him pretty drunk, and I said, "Hey, man," he goes, "Let me ask you about Area 51." He goes, he got stone sober. He goes, "This conversation never happened," and he left, and I had to take a cab to find my way back to a nuke base that no one knows about.
Jesus.
Right. So then I'm at the dunes. This is how long ago that was, and I'm with these guys who are in the Air Force, and they said, "Man, we really like your show. We're fans of yours." But I got them drunk. And I said, "Hey, man, what about Area 51?" And they said, "Mr. Clarke, good night." And they walked away. So now, me and Mike are golfing with these Blue Angels. And he goes, "You're going to ask them?" I go, "No." The second year, we golf with them again. I go, "All right, fellas, tell me about Area 51. They go, "Well," he goes, "I was flying a plane, and I had malfunction, and I had to land there. And they came out, and they pretty much blindfolded me, took me into a building, and they fixed my jet within 35 minutes, and then put me back in the place. You were never here." And I went, "Oh, my God." So I don't know what's out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That was an area where they were testing all sorts of military equipment. They were testing different new, like, that's where the B-2 or the stealth bomber,
Right.
they were testing that there.
And the spy plane.
Yeah, they were testing a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of top secret stuff there.
Right.
Didn't necessarily have to be aliens.
I understand that, and I'm hoping that there is.
But he's still trying to find out.
But I'd love to go there, man. Oh man, but you can't even drive. If you drive up there, Joe, by the time you get your camera out, they're on you.
Yeah.
And tell you, well, get out of here. We'll lock you up. You know, it's not good. So
they don't even go there anymore. They've moved to a new area. They've actually, because it's so heavily scrutinized, and because of Google Earth and all sorts of different ways you can see things, they've actually moved to another area.
Well, I read everything I can find about that too, and I think I read the book Area 51. It was 2 years ago, and basically at the end of the book, it was like Hitler had these, you know, his guys experimenting with the Jews and put their arms on different ways, and had an aircraft that looked like a spaceship, and it crashed. And these people came out with crazy arms. And, "They're aliens," and that was in the book, you know. So that kind of shut the shit out of that.
I know Hitler did experiment with some sort of disc type air vehicle. Yeah, they did, but I don't know if they ever got it off the ground. Or, or what the deal was. But the most interesting story is the story of Robert Lazar, Bob Lazar, who was a guy who worked at Area 51, and he got fired because his wife was cheating on him, and they were recording all of his phone calls and taping all of his conversations, and they found out that his wife was cheating on him. They thought that he was going to be emotionally unstable, and so they didn't tell him why. They just released him, and so then he brings friends to watch these, what he said were alien crafts that they were experimenting with, and they were flying these things around that had some super advanced propulsion system that they were asking him to help back engineer, and he brought friends to do that, and then they got arrested for doing that. And when he did that, then he started talking about it. So he's been discredited by a bunch of people, but I don't know who's telling the truth. He says that they wiped his college record so that no one, but people said they went to school with him, and he definitely did work for the government, but under what capacity, who knows. But his story is fascinating, and I want it to be true. You hear it, you want it to be true.
Joe, they used to fly the team of people that worked at Area 51 from Burbank.
Yeah.
Every day, fly them in, they'd work, and then fly them back. It's like they didn't stay over.
There was that one airport outside of Vegas. It was right outside where the Riviera was.
Yeah.
You could actually look out and see the airport. And they would fly the people from there in these unmarked jets.
Yeah, I want it to be true.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you want it to be true.
We flew, we did Guantanamo Bay. And
oh, wow. You did stand-up there?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that like?
It was amazing. Colin Quinn, Greg Giraldo, who's the little kid on Billions?
Mike Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia and Gaffigan.
Jim Gaffigan.
And someone else. I don't know. We flew in on a CIA plane.
Whoa.
Yeah, and we did the show.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And I tailored my show to the Marines that were there. These are young guys. And during the week, they said, Mr. Clarke, you really lifted the morale of everyone. He says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go over and torture the prisoners, not actually do it, scream at them and shit like that. Oh, we can't have that, And I did. But anyway, we do the show, and we're leaving like 3 days later. And I get to the airport. I'm the first one there, and I see this little 8-seater plane, and I go, two Spanish-speaking guys go, baño? No baño. No baño. Right? So I go into the gift shop, and I buy a giant, water thing so I can piss in it. And the guy shop, who wants beers? So I buy them all beers, right? Oh, funny, that's great. Yeah. We got on the plane, and we fly. It only took us like an hour to fly in. This was a 4-hour flight in a 2-engine, 8-seater over water the whole way. And about 15 minutes ago, hey, man, where's the bathroom? I go, oh, no baño. What? By the time we hit Miami, these guys were pissing at the top of the stairs. It was so funny. Yeah, I was my favorite then. But it was Guantanamo Bay was amazing.
That's got to be very weird
It
being
was-
in that place.
it
What
was-
year was this?
Oh, shit.
This is post 9/11, obviously.
Yeah, because I said to them, I said, well, can we ride horses? And they said, no more horses. They had horseback riding. They had beautiful beaches for our troops and I could see sailfish breaking. And I said, can we go fishing? I've never caught a sailfish. They said, no, we can't go out. And they said, we'll give you a ride in a gunboat. I went on a gunboat. I said, what do you think? I said, my wife's boat's faster. I can be honest with you. It was nice, but my wife's boat jams. So then the golf, you had to carry your mat and hit off the mat. It's all been run into disrepair, but it's still beautiful. And because I did TV and movies, I was like a GS-13, and I got the best apartment overlooking the bay. And that bay is so big, you can fit an entire battle fleet with the battleship and the destroyers, everything that goes with it, right in the bay. And all it was in was like a rowboat. I mean, the tanks are gone. Everything's, so they said, you want to go ride the fence? I said, yeah. So we get up in the tower, and I get the binoculars, and I see this Cuban guy. So I give him the finger, and they go, no, Mr. Clarke, you started an international incident. And the guy comes out, I said, I'm sorry, didn't mean it. They go, we got to go away. So I said, why are we so nervous? He goes, there's millions of Cubans here. They could overrun us. And I go, really? And I go, well, don't we have? No, we have a skeleton force now. That if they wanted to overtake, I said, we could call in an airstrike. I said, how long would that take? And they go, about 20 minutes. If the jets would come out of wherever, they could. It was
Probably out of Florida.
So I said, the commander goes, if you could do anything you want, would you? I said, I'd like to go into Havana and buy some cigars, treat the guys to some bits. Come in my office. We go in, and there's a map. He goes, see this? This is where you are. He goes, That's where Havana is. Cuba is the biggest island in the Caribbean. I had no idea. 736 miles from Havana. He said, you were closer to Havana when you were in Miami. And I went, oh
Whoa.
my God. Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, but the guys were great. It was a great show. They put it on TV like, I forget it's probably on YouTube someplace.
Sucks they wouldn't let you go fishing though.
Oh, it
bet it's
sucks. They wouldn't.
pristine.
I wanted to ride a horse. I wanted to ride the tank. 'Cause you see all the tank tracks from when they went up
Yeah.
over the mountains, you know. And they had taken the prisoners, and they had taken from Camp X-Ray to Camp Delta because Camp X-Ray was basically like dog cages. And CNN came down. Look how we're treating these people. I mean, you know, they're overlooking the fact that they blew up the World Trade Center, but you know, so now they have better quarters than some of the Marines that are guarding them.
Well, they had supposedly, and still do, have a lot of innocent people in there. There was a lot of people that they just scooped up in the wide net of looking to find people that were complicit or
Yeah.
people that were working with ISIS or Al Qaeda.
I wasn't there. I mean, I wasn't there when they grabbed them, but you know, but there were some bad
Bad
guys in
guys
there.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, some real bad guys.
There's when Obama released the 5 guys for that one guy, you know,
The
to get
deserter.
the deserter. One of my buddies in the sales says, Lenny, I put 3 of those guys in there, and they're bad guys. They shouldn't be let out. And, you know, who knows? I mean,
Yeah, it's got to be strange though to be in that. I mean, that is like one of the most famous prisons in the world, and you're doing stand up there.
oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, it was. I really liked it. Castro has never cashed a check. It's $5,000 a year. We pay him $5,000 a year for that Guantanamo Bay, and he never cashed a check because he figured if he didn't cash it, we could get support. He could get out of the deal. But that was the deal made. Like what? And Joe, it was so beautiful. Like they used to have, you know, fire pits and beautiful things to shade. You know, the families and the beaches are pristine, but they've let it go to hell. You know?
It's so strange.
Yeah.
Lenny Clarke, you've lived a fucking amazing life, man.
Oh, I'm
You
going to
really
write a
have.
book as soon as a few more people die. And you'll be in it, you crazy
Please.
fuck.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me
Thanks
on,
for
man.
being here, man.
My pleasure,
Pleasure
man.
to
All
see
the
you.
best.
And thanks, Mike. And
Hey.
thanks for taking care of me when I was up and coming, man.
Oh, you're the best, man.
I paid a lot of my bills because of you, my friend.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it, pal.
All right, everybody. That's it. Good night.
Wow. No dead air.